No. No. Yeah. No. 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 Yeah. No.
Welcome back, Weenie.
Happy Friday, man. How y'all feeling on this lovely Friday? Boy, it's a lot going on out in these streets, y'all. I already had a fucking jam-packed ass stream. Then turn around, Abba and Sneeko over here having a conversation. What's up, young Nero? And I'm like, damn, Abba and Sneeko talking. I would cover it, but I got too much to cover already. And if you in here rocking with me, appreciate y'all, because I know a lot of this crossover between me and Abba and Preach. So if y'all rocking with the stream, appreciate it, because I know they talking. Hopefully Abba don't take it down. He never took down him and Sneeko. Him and Stevie Knight debate. So Abba might keep this up, probably, so people could go back and look at it. I don't know if he's going to cut it up and make content, so he's going to make it. So I know they take down their lives probably so they could cut that content up and get people to watch, each section, which is better for their channel, is healthier for their channel. So hopefully he keeps that up. If not, I'm sure he'll put up whatever's relevant. But yeah, what up to y'all? Young Nero, the Count was in here earlier. Elbert, what's good? Oh, what up, bro? Tyrone, Janae, what up? I just saw a clip on Trump calling Obama's monkeys. Yeah. Yep, that's where we at. Depending on how far we get and how much time we got, I'm going to go over and see. Since it's been like a full day, I'm going to see what all the biggest names on the right has to say about that shit. We're going to scroll X and see what they saying on that motherfucker about it. So. Oh, shit.
More money, more money, more money.
Shout out to Albert for the $12 super chat. Logics, you already know I'm rocking with no questions asked, bruh. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. W's for Albert in the chat, man. Thank you for the $12 super chat. $12 super chat. Talking too fast. What's good, Blue Eagle? What up? So, we're gonna get to it. Let me just see what let's check and see what Myron, what the fuck, Sneeko and Abba talking about just for a second. Curious.
Look, and I think one thing that's cool about the way you kind of documented your life is you were very open, and so my description of you, I wrote a sentence. It's Sneeko's openly flawed, self-aware, and arrogant, humble enough for curiosity, and daring enough to take chances. So that's my perception when I watched the first arc of your content creation from kid to about 2020 when you did the video before the Red Pill, How to Be a Man. You were aware of your own flaws. You may not always have the correct conclusion or whatever, but you could see the thought process. You could see how you got there. You could see.
I feel like this is a Unc and Son moment, a Unc and YN moment. It seemed like Abba just finna guide him.
Pick artist, yeah.
Yeah, pickup artist, he would talk about peacocking, where he would wear like big feathered hats to try to attack this goofy stuff. But I was hyper aware of Red Pill ideology my whole teenage years, but I just hadn't really. It was just something I was interested in, but I didn't really adopt it.
Hold that thought 2 seconds. Hold that thought 2 seconds.
Yeah. What he finna do?
Where's he going?
Right, okay, what the fuck? He finna go get something?
Hey, Alba's chat. Aiden, how's it?
He going? Why does he keep muting? Well, if Abba not there, he don't have to mute and talk to his chat.
What is he doing? Is he grabbing a costume?
I actually picked one of these up.
What the fuck?
Because I'm actually doing a project on the pickup artist community, and so I was actually looking for that fucking dumb hat that he normally wears, and this is the closest thing I could find.
Who wears that?
That's it. Yeah,
it's even worse than this one. It was larger up here. He looked like a. I don't know what it was, but I know exactly the kind of content you're talking about. So you're saying
you. The hat.
Yeah. It took me a hot minute to find it. We're good. From your perspective, you feel like you didn't change. Okay, you answered that you were already consuming some of it and that it was already kind of. But how do you feel like? I feel like you had a quite drastic change as you watched more of the Red Pill stuff, and that you could see how you got there, but it definitely got amped up. So I'm asking you, what change did you see still?
It was COVID pandemic, because as soon as it happened, You know, that was one of the reasons I got banned was I didn't get the COVID vaccine. I was really against the lockdowns.
You
I
did
was
not get
so
banned
critical
because
how
you
it
didn't
make
get the
sense.
vaccine,
Everything was
dude.
flagged and taken down at the time. They put a COVID warning beneath everything. And as soon as COVID happened, I said they're going to use this in order to sell vaccines. And I didn't get it. And on the time, YouTube, you weren't supposed to say that. And so seeing that happen, seeing us lock us inside, and then everybody went outside.
He's always a victim.
Floyd, I'm like, this is a very obvious control mechanism. I started to get angry, and they call it red pill rage. Like once you really start waking up, I did get red pill rage post-pandemic.
So you felt like most of the change that you experienced was in relation to COVID. It wasn't in relation to your feelings about the opposite sex, about dating, about the world. Like, at least when I saw you, yes, there was definitely an aspect where you're talking about some of the global stuff and some of the COVID-related things, but there's definitely a lot of it in relation to dating dynamics. You didn't feel like there was actual change there as you got into your red pill arc?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to Patrice for years. He's my favorite. He's like your favorite comedian of all time, too, right?
Yeah, I actually did have Patrice on my notes here. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrice O'Neal's the GOAT. And yeah, that's part of it, but like the real catalyst was the pandemic, was the lockdown.
That's so
like this
weird.
was just, I had enough.
I don't know what
And
it is
then
about the
everything
pandemic that broke everybody's brain that they act like they couldn't operate in reality anymore. It's just so strange.
I wanted to fight back.
Got you.
As if we wasn't having problems globally of people dying in mass, and everybody's like, "Why are you guys keeping us in the house?" And on top of that, nobody was outside your door with a gun saying, "Don't leave." Motherfuckers close their buildings, close their offices, close their establishments because it was fucked up out here. I don't know why people mad, because they just was trying to keep us safe, and there's nothing like that we've ever experienced. So the flaws was just an experiment to know what we should and shouldn't do next time around, man.
War is good, and Iran and Venezuela should be bombed more. But liberals operate from a place of, I think, sympathy, but they don't see it on a grand scale, right? So I think like one of the major issues that separates liberals and conservatives, it's really a lot of it's slop, but it's like transgenders, I think, is a good example. Conservatives are like, okay, this is harmful because they have one of the highest suicide rates of any demographic.
Good, Bill?
Liberals are like, trans people should be able to exist. They don't mean any harm. They're not hurting people. But what I believe is that, okay, I love everyone and I care about these people. What we should tell them is that this is a harmful ideology.
Hormones, God. And, Damn, I don't want to get stuck on this. Damn it, I should have.
We know that like this is a delusion.
No, it's not.
I think it's operating
not a delusion.
From a place of love. Liberals are thinking, okay, well, we should just allow them to exist.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's addressing the problem, but it's not providing the correct solution to it.
Well, I think the way you're framing it, if you're going to make the example of liberals, the person who wants to be inclusive of trans people, then the conservative is the one who's like, we have to tell you the truth. And that's the one version of it. But the other version of it is like, the conservatives who say we don't accept you in our society because we feel like you're bad for us. And then there's the liberal who's like, listen, you're very different from me, but I still accept you in this community. Mm-hmm. And if you're very honest, if you go to countries that are very, very conservative, they're not actually open to a lot of people who are.
I think Alba's talking to him because he thinks that Sneeko is redeemable. I think I kind of get that sense too. Like, I feel like Sneeko is not completely done. I think he just is lost as fuck. And Alba probably sees a small window of opportunity, and I kind of get it.
You describe it isn't necessarily the way conservatism manifests in a lot of places. And also as an artist, you probably know this too, but like conservative areas are not exactly the most embracing of art. In fact, you and your own community, how often do you hear art is gay, art is gay, art is gay? Right? How many times do you hear people just bemoan music and every other freedom of expression, but like you will make projects that they would consider really fucking gay? Is that a great form of conservatism? It's liberals who look at what you make.
Yeah, I don't think Sneeko's a grifter. I think he's lost. I just think Sneeko just has no idea what he wants to do or who he is.
You want to be able to do. In fact, pretty much most of the things that you think are most important to you in life, people who have a liberal mindset in terms of allowing that kind of expression and encouraging it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And like a lot of my
and like he just said, I think at heart Sneeko is liberal. He's he's had his moments where he argues with Myron and Rolo and all those people that he be hanging around, but he feels like it ain't. He wants his masculinity to stay intact while being a creative. He used to model, for God's sakes. You know what I'm saying? And he has an artistic soul. So I think that he wants to maintain that, but it feels like it's not masculine because he's surrounding himself by these people that tell him that type of shit is gay.
Like arty farty.
The fact that he was even willing to swap with his girlfriend, I forgot the technical term. He wasn't cucking. Everybody calls him a cuck, but that's how he was doing. He was whatever I forgot the term. Y'all know what I'm talking about when people swap partners, but swinging. He was trying to swing. That's even liberal. So it's just like, I think that's who he is at heart, and just can't accept it.
Is gay. Art is gay. I love art. That is the reason I think I'm here. No, that's 100% true. Conservatives don't make really good art. Like that's 100%. You can't really name that many. There was one guy, he started painting, and then look what he did to the world. So it's like, that's one example of, he wasn't accepted for his art, and then he ended up, invading Poland. So
he ended up becoming very conservative.
Yeah, that is, you're 100% right. 100% right.
Know who they're talking about.
Art is at the forefront, and there's contradictions, and art really in conservatism.
Damn, this is good.
And the overlap as well is that conservatives in America will be like, okay, we can't be tolerant of these things. We can't be tolerant of transgenderism. But at the same time, America does pride itself on democracy, on freedom. Like what is it to be in the West, to be an American? It's freedom. You're allowing ideology. So if you allow freedom, then you also allow.
And this is the thing too. When Sneeko talks to a lot of people, he'll like agree with them in the moment, but then turn around and say something completely opposite the next day. Like he's in the moment talking to Alba, and he'll agree with him, but then be like, "Yeah, art is still gay." Like that's the type of shit he'll do.
So 100%.
I'm not saying what is the right answer. If you just ask me the kind of society where I feel most free living in, it's going to be a liberal one. I say this all the time. I love Ethiopia. The reason why I wouldn't.
Oh, Hitler was I didn't know Hitler was an artist.
I don't think I'd ever be.
He was a failed artist. Interesting.
It's a reality in a lot of traditionally conservative places. Like you're allowed to say things to a certain extreme, and then beyond that, like they will use the governmental powers to come after you, and that is very normal. If you want places that you have the most amount of freedom to say what you will against the powers that be, it's going to be in liberal societies who really value the ideas of freedom.
I don't see nothing on his lip.
So. I understand in a lot of circles people love to be like the trans issue. Like trans issue is so minor. I've gotten such fatigue on the trans issue because I'm like, bro, we already won on that topic. They lost the whole sports angle. They lost a lot of this stuff. I feel like it's almost pointless now to even mention it because it's like,
he's like, no, we kind of won with that
on every front. The bathroom stuff, they didn't get that. They didn't get the sports. They didn't get the 99% of the issues that they. So like when people bring up trans stuff to me, I'm like, that was like 2018, 2019 when it was relevant. You feel like it's still relevant today?
They make it relevant.
It's relevant because people
on the left know that shit not relevant. The right tries their best to make it the most relevant thing to talk about.
Matt Walsh are talking about transgenderism instead of the Epstein list. It's like, I think this is used as a populist
it's stupid
idea.
It's
like
so stupid.
I think he won the liberals over by jumping up and down at the pride parades and pretending he cares about trans people. Like it's smart in order to gain support. Overall, it is such a minor issue. And same thing, conservatives will do the same thing. Like,
I'm sorry, dang, I'm mad that I am interested in this convo, but I got my own stuff I got to cover. So let's go. I'm sorry if y'all was getting invested. I just wish I did. I wish this wasn't happening at the same time. But so the first thing we're gonna go over is the Birdman's new Exposing the Grift video. It's called Exposing the Grift, Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy. This is pretty interesting because I didn't know she was going to be Helen of Troy. I didn't know that was a role she got. And you already know that there's going to be a certain group mad that Lupita Nyong'o, I appreciate it, Dex, Lupita Nyong'o being Helen of Troy is going to piss these people off. I would love to see what Birdman has to say about this. I don't even know how I feel about it. Because, if I'm not mistaken, Helen of Troy, it's Greek mythology, so people aren't even real. So, but we'll see.
Christopher Nolan's latest film, The Odyssey, has cast Lupita Nyong'o in an undisclosed role as of the writing of this video, and there has been speculation.
Tom Holland is in it too? Hey, Chris Nolan be doing his thing with movies though, man.
That she's portraying Helen of Troy, the mythological figure known for her beauty present in Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey. Naturally, this rumor has sent the...
Oh, they don't know? Oh, well, we'll see. I'll see what's happening.
...internet into a frenzy with claims of race swapping and woke agendas. which of course I find strange for a variety of reasons, such as this film doesn't contain a single Greek actor in its main cast. But we'll get into that a bit later. In this video, we're going to tackle an upload by Ryan Kinnell, the perfect guy to talk about ancient Greek poetry.
Wow.
Take it away, Ryan.
When it was announced that Christopher Nolan was going to be doing an adaptation of The Odyssey, quite frankly, it got a lot of attention because the idea of Chris Nolan tackling a project like this, a nearly 3,000-year-old epic that Homer wrote.
Hey, this cast is crazy. Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Benny Safdie, I don't know who that is. John Bernthal and John Leguizamo. That's a crazy cast.
Like, it's so cool, the possibilities that you could imagine if this was done properly.
Watts, it's good that you're late because I was covering ABBA and what's the name before, and I had to stop because I was getting too invested.
And then we started to get cast announcements. Then we started to get trailers, promotional material, all these things. Yet still, a lot is being kept.
Oh, sorry, y'all. No, sorry.
Rather close to the vest. They're being rather tight-lipped about who might be playing what when it comes to The Odyssey, but there are certainly rumors abound. And as we've seen more trailers, the idea that Travis Scott is in this, the casting of John Leguizamo, a lot of castings, Elliot Page that are raising some eyebrows, but maybe none more so than this persistent rumor that blew up over the weekend. And that is about Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships, the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Troy, described in pretty great detail.
I think that's a perfect place to pause. Firstly, I'd like to point out that Ryan specifically chose this tweet, one from a neo-Nazi account referring to Lupita as a sub-Saharan African monkey.
Fucking Christ. Oh, man.
To feature in his video because Ryan is an unabashed racist.
So that person said, according to the ancient authors, Helen of Troy was a white beauty. She had fair skin, was white-armed, and possessed golden or blonde hair that shone with a goddess-like radiance. She looked like a goddess, a woman more beautiful than any woman of mortal race. Appearing among men with the splendor of the immortal goddesses, she was a wonder for mortals, the woman for whom men crossed the sea to fight and die, and for whom the Trojan War was waged. Unlike this sub-Saharan monkey, Lupita Nyong'o. Boycott Christopher Nolan's upcoming film, The Odyssey.
He knows his video would get demonetized if he said this, so he instead uses a proxy to say what he really wants to say. And before you ask, yes, Ryan is a provable racist. Here he is giving The Batman a lower score specifically because apparently there was insufficient white representation amongst heroic characters, even though the movie is literally about Batman, and that the mayor, Jim Gordon, and Catwoman were portrayed by black actors.
Oh my God.
There were only a couple good people in this movie. You had Bruce Wayne, Batman, and you had Alfred. Those are the only two good white people.
What?
Rest...
Who goes to movies thinking about stuff like this? There was only a few good white people and all the other good people were black. So I didn't like it. And then all the bad guys were white too. So it just made white people look bad. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? What the hell?
Of the three other major players that I would consider overall moral good people were, you had Jim Gordon, who's black in this. You had Catwoman, who's not white in this, and then you had the mayor.
What was she then? If you knew it was black, you ain't know what she was. She wasn't white, so she wasn't white. Oh God.
Who's a black woman? Again, very much on the nose for current day Hollywood.
The weakest
Did not
vampire.
Like that. Took a little bit off the score for me, to be honest.
So, as we can see, this is not an accusation I'm levying against Ryan arbitrarily. You now understand not only why he chose to make this video, but also why he chose this specific tweet, opposed to the literal hundreds of other tweets highlighting this rumor. Anyway, the claim Ryan makes is that Helen is described in pretty great detail. This shows how ignorant of the topic this guy is, and that he simply intends to grift on this issue, as one of the most famous aspects of Homeric poetry is that Helen is never given a concrete physical description. In fact, that ambiguity is one of the defining features of the character. When describing Helen, Homer chose evaluative language, or language that describes how she made people around her feel, rather than concrete details about her appearance. Specifically, Homer chose to...
Well, I'm curious of where that person that tweeted it got that information. I hope he addresses that. I don't know, but I wonder.
Use what are known as formulaic epithets, or traditional descriptive phrases that are shortcuts for character descriptions. There is an entire Wikipedia article dedicated to Homer's epithets, and in the context surrounding Helen, you'll see these, which are general epithets that refer to women: white-armed, lovely-haired, and long-robed. It is important to understand that these are not individualized physical descriptions, and that the
I wonder, what does white-armed mean, though?
Odyssey is a narrative poem using poetic language. The most obvious one is white-armed, which people will use to suggest this describes Helen's skin color. It does not. Someone who is white-armed in Homeric expression is someone who mostly stays inside and lives a life of relative leisure.
Interesting. Where is it at? Do I gotta read all this? I'm trying to look for white-armed. There's a lot. Most of the important people in the Iliad have a special epithet that serves as an extra name. Athena is the only one described as Glaucopis, gray-eyed. She is called Thea, Glaucopis, Athene, goddess gray-eyed Athena, and also Pallas Athene, Pallas Athena. On the other hand, more money, more money, more money. Shout out Watts for the $5 super chat to get the total to 500. My nigga. Love you for Watts in the chat. Appreciate you, bro. Hera shares her epithet Leucolanos, white-armed. Hera does not, however, share the longer epithet Thea Leucolanos, Hera goddess, white-armed Hera, nor does she share the epithet Wopis Patnia Hera, cow-eyed mistress. Okay. They don't really say what it means.
In other words, a person who is not out in the sun working all day. Greece is in the Mediterranean, and we know the people there have various skin tones. This is not to suggest that Homer was describing a black woman of African descent. I am simply debunking the claim that Ryan has made that suggests Helen was physically described in great detail in the Odyssey, because she was not.
Described in, pretty great detail.
In contrast to Helen, the hero of the story, Odysseus, was physically described in the Odyssey. We know that, over time, humanity is becoming taller, mainly due to nutrition and the advent of certain technologies. In the Bronze Age, which is the time period the Odyssey takes place, humans were a bit shorter than modern humans. From skeletal data we have of the remains of the people of the Mediterranean, we know that, on average, men were around 5'4" to 5'7".
Damn! That just seems so weird to think about in today's time. That's so weird to think about. Male and female stature in ancient Greece in the last 10,000 years ranged from 159.7 to 170.6 centimeters, and from 153.1 to 160.4 centimeters, respectively. Yo, think about a world where men was 5'4" to 5'7" only, bro. That's so crazy when niggas is walking around 7'2" now. That shit is insane.
Agamemnon was described as being taller than average men, so we can safely conclude Agamemnon was at least 5'8" or taller. In Book 3 of the Iliad, Odysseus is described
short kings, literally,
as being shorter than Agamemnon by a head, which would safely place him in the 5'4" to 5'6" range, assuming Agamemnon was around.
Hey, Terrence!
Nigga, you gay.
What the fuck? Hey, chill out, bro.
Around 5'8". The problem, dear viewer, is that the person Nolan cast to play Odysseus is 5'10", who in the Bronze Age would tower over the vast majority of people. Where are the videos criticizing the casting of the too tall, too gray, fair-haired, not Greek, American English accented Matt Damon?
They don't care about any of that shit. They don't give a fuck. If it's a woman, especially a black woman, fuck her. Well, I guess because the story has to have women in it, they'll say, but black women, Greece, hell no.
Oh It's okay to take liberties with the source material as long as the person you cast is white? Well then, this suggests your problem is not with portraying the characters as accurately to the source material as possible, but that you don't like when black people get to play in the same...
That was so funny to me, that episode of Family. See, racist jokes can be funny. I don't know, like, they act like there's those, like, black people won't laugh at racist jokes. Racist jokes can be funny. It just has to be done good. It has to be done well. That shit was funny to me in Family Guy. I remember that. That shit was hilarious. I'm sorry.
Sandbox that white people get to. That, my friends, is textbook racism.
Lupita Nyong'o.
I really hate to pause again so soon, but Ryan repeatedly mispronounces Lupita's name, and I'm not entirely sure that it's not on purpose. Her name is Nyong'o, not Nwanga. I don't know where Ryan is seeing the letter W in her name.
When people do shit like that, it just makes you look stupid. I hate when people do that. Right, it's funny because it's true. Right, I just hate when people do that. Like, even when you don't, I don't know. It's just weird to me when people do it. It just makes you look dumb, especially when you know it's because you just simply don't like the person versus, like, maybe you have a speech impediment or, you know, maybe you have an accent and certain things are hard to say. That's totally different. But when you just know somebody's name and you just gonna keep, like, saying it wrong, I don't know.
But with it literally being on screen and all, but you would think with an unusual name himself, he would at least be a bit more careful about pronouncing someone's name. Unless, of course, he's doing this on purpose, in which case it's probably him being racist as usual.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Come on. Yeah, that's egregious for how it's spelled. Like, even in America, most people don't have names like this, of course, but when you see that, you're either going to say Nyong'o or Nyong'o. Those are the only two ways to say it. Nwanga is ridiculous. You're not even trying.
It's been rumored to be Helen of Troy for a while, and these rumors blew up over the weekend. Lupita Nyong'o is playing Helen of Troy in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, considering that Helen of Troy is described a very specific way, fair-skinned, white arms, pale, golden hair, you can understand why the casting of Lupita Nyong'o, who, regardless of if you think she's attractive, unattractive, hot, ugly, whatever your personal preference is for that, she doesn't exactly fit the description of Helen of Troy. And it's just one of so many reasons why people are very, very cautious about what Chris Nolan might be doing with The Odyssey.
Talking about cautious.
Ignoring the second completely different mispronunciation of Lupita's name,
Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita Nyong'o.
As we just went over, the main character is being portrayed by someone that doesn't physically match the description in the poem.
W's to Young Nero for becoming a member on the channel. I was going to say on the stream. On the channel. Shout out to Young Nero for the membership. Appreciate it.
And unlike Helen, we have actual descriptions of that character. Also, Ryan is using terms that were not used in the source material. Helen is not described as being fair-haired. In fact, the epithet used for Helen's hair is kalikomos, which actually translates to lovely or beautiful-haired. There is a Greek word for blonde hair, xanth or xanthos. This word was never...
How the fuck this nigga know how... Well, you could press the button in it to tell you, but, like, he just said that shit like he know how to say it. How would he learn that shit through this video? You ain't just no Greek nigga.
Used to describe Helen's hair color, but it was used to describe Achilles' hair color, as you can see here.
See, that's always the silver bullet. It's like, yeah, like, that's what I don't get when people say they don't like Birdman and he's like a liar and a grifter. Like, he's explaining how they didn't describe her hair, and he actually found a real example of them actually describing somebody's hair color or whatnot, or whatever the situation may be. It's not just dismissing their claim. He's showing claim in the opposite direction, so there's no mistaking of what's actually going on. It's not just like he's debunking and then proving the counterfactual.
In book 1 of the Iliad. So, once again, we lack actual physical descriptions of Helen because Homer chose to describe her in a way that expresses how she made people around her feel. Her hair theoretically could have been black, brown, or red. We'll never know because...
I do find that interesting, though, because I'm not too versed on the Odyssey. I don't know much. But if she's like the main, like, maybe love interest or the main female protagonist in the story, I think that leaving her description to be ambiguous leaves the reader to create this person that they see in themselves. And I think that's very smart in the situation. Maybe everybody else has this distinct look. So, they're explaining all these other women, the color of their hair, their height, their facial features. But the main female protagonist is like, all of these are just positive words that person can then see in their own terms, in their own interpretation of who they are. I think that's really smart. And it's intentional, of course.
As Homer has been dead for thousands of years.
And I mean, this caused a mass.
If she's barely in the Odyssey, then it is what it is. But I know that I've heard that name before. I thought maybe she's big in some other story or something, but I've heard that name before, and I'm not even like big on Greek mythology.
Amount of backlash.
Yes, from racists and trolls on Twitter, but when are they ever
backlash
for thousands of years?
And I mean, this caused a mass amount of backlash.
Yeah.
Why does that matter what she looked like at another point in time? What is that? We've seen different versions of Catwoman. We've seen different versions of what else? What's old girl from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? We've seen like 3 different kinds of I forgot her name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the girl from Ninja Turtles. We've seen different versions of all these types of people where they're Little Mermaid, all that shit don't matter. We got a new Brandy killed Cinderella. Like, what are we talking about, bro? All these are fictional people. Stop it.
Yes, from racists and trolls on Twitter, but when are they ever
exactly, Swank.
In an uproar about something? This is business as usual on that hell site. The vast majority of people going to see the Odyssey will not care about this, and that's even if Lupita is actually playing Helen. Remember, this is just a rumor as of February 4th. She could be playing an entirely different character.
Helen of Troy in 2000.
That part, we don't even know if that's her role.
2004, Helen of Troy from 2026. Now,
and then look at the pictures they chose. Look, this is some bullshit. Look, like they chose the woman. I'm guessing she was in the film looking beautiful, and then they're going to pick Lupita not looking her best. This is insane, bro. Oh, my God. These people ain't shit. I swear to God.
This is an edited image from...
Oh, I cover him regularly. You're one of my favorite content creators.
From Lupita Nyong'o in 12 Years a Slave that was kind of redone to make her look like she could be in a historical Greek epic or something like that.
God.
But there's a little bit of a difference between these things, don't we think? The very idea that this Greek story would have depicted Helen of Troy as black is absolutely 100% ridiculous. It's the complete and total opposite of that.
Well, the good thing is that this isn't a Greek story. It's Christopher Nolan's story, and as the artist creating this film, he has control over who appears in the film and how they are depicted. I once again bring up the fact that this film features no Greek actors in its main cast.
This cast is fucking insane. And yes, it does not say who Lupita is. You got Matt Damon, Elliot Page, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Robert. God damn, this cast. Anne Hathaway? Yo, what the hell? Travis Scott? Bro, this is an insane cast. I don't even care about the story, but I want to see it because of the cast.
At all.
But
There's
how?
even a Korean actor as one of the shipmates. So why is the black woman the cause for all the controversy?
Oh, God. No, that's a fact. Of course, Kongman Lee has to say something. Of course. Of course. He say, of course, this hypocrite is mad about the black woman and not the Korean man. Yo, if Kongman Lee is Korean, that's crazy, but nonetheless, they're both going to be Asian. I'm not saying all Asians are the same, but that's a closer tie. And he's upset about Helen being in a movie with white people, but he ain't got nothing to say about the Korean. This is insane. This racism is just next level. Oh, God.
More money, more money, more money.
Shout out to Albert. Thank you for the $12 super chat. It's fitting that Lupita is playing the role of Helena because, my God, this girl is so fine. Yes, and that's the thing. Lupita's beautiful, so it doesn't matter if she is or isn't Helen. It would be perfectly fine. Never seen an Asian Greek, not gonna lie, but we do have Giannis. Yeah, the Greek freak. But Yeah, pointing out Lupita while ignoring the not even just the black woman. There's black men. Travis Scott and then the Korean man too. It's like, all right, bro, all right.
Hell, John Bernthal is playing Menelaus, the husband of Helen. This is important because Menelaus is repeatedly described in the Odyssey as explicitly having blonde hair, as you can see in this passage from the 4th book. But John doesn't have blonde hair, so
they could dye it, but
why is there no uproar about the character Menelaus, Helen's husband? Why is there no uproar that there are 0 actors of Greek descent in the main cast, for that matter?
And we see the same thing that we see each and every time a character gets race swapped. You got people that are out there defending the same, well, there's no reason she can't be black. And, well, they didn't really discover that. She could have been bull fucking shit. Yes, we know that this is a story, but this is a story by a Greek for Greeks about the Greek world.
And strangely, you have 0 problem with the fact that there are no Greeks in the film's main cast. By definition, the Finnish, Scottish, and English Matt Damon is a race swap. The English and Irish Tom Holland is not Greek. Anne Hathaway is all these things, and yet not one part of her ancestry is from Greece. So why is it that all of these people get to play pretend and Lupita cannot?
It's just straight up bullshit. It's just bull. You just don't. These people are ridiculous. If you're gonna care for real. If you're gonna care, be like, well, I want everybody to be Greek. You know what I'm saying? You know, because it's just fucking annoying. It's just clearly they don't care about that with the story they want to tell. That's not the priority. Is making sure everybody is true to form of the height and hair color and eye shape and lip size and all that. Clearly that's not the point, and that's not. They don't care about dealing with all that with the story they're trying to tell. The story they're trying to tell, they probably want the best people for the job. Period.
Oh, it's her skin color. She can't play pretend because she has a different skin color,
right? Because everybody else is pretending.
Benny Safdie, the Jewish person that's playing Agamemnon. I think we have a word for excluding people on the basis of their skin color.
Crafting together these little pieces, some things real, some things fictional, and wrap them all up into this historical epic that has lasted nearly 3,000 years. That's how impactful that story has been. And what do? You fucking race swap. Look, you can say you want about
she the only one to fuck the black men, the Korean guy, none of that matters.
Diversity and representation, modernity, bull fucking shit. We saw just the other day how a lot of black people got up in arms with the idea of a light-skinned black person playing Black Panther and how upset they got over it.
To be clear, there are 2 entirely separate issues. What we are currently talking about is racism. What you are talking about is colorism. There is a long history of lighter-skinned black people receiving preferential treatment compared to their darker-skinned counterparts. This is called colorism. In an earlier video, I spoke about house Negroes versus field Negroes. Often, but not always, the house Negroes were the lighter-skinned black people who were treated better than the darker-skinned slaves out in the field. This concept has been passed down throughout American history and is why people get upset when a dark-skinned character gets cast with a lighter-skinned actor. Colorism, or discrimination within an ethnic group. Dark-skinned heroes are already far and few.
My superhero is black. Did Marvel make this? I mean, it got the Marvel thing at the bottom, 2022. They got Moon Girl, Shuri, Luke Cage, Blade, Bishop, Black Panther. Okay, you got, who is this? Is this like a black, y'all, who is this at the bottom right? Who is this? I don't know who this is. Because Sam Wilson's up here, War Machine. Who is this? Does anybody know? Voodoo? No, I see Dr. Voodoo up here. That's it up here. Photon? Who is the first black Cap? You talking about the dude from the movie? I forgot his name. But the guy Sam Wilson was looking up was his mentor. I forgot his name. Yeah, I forgot his name too. Yeah, I forgot his name. I wonder what this book is, what it's about. I wonder what that book is about.
between, especially in relation to white characters. So taking even the small amount of representation those people have is a bad thing. Yes. So these are not the same concepts at all, although they are tangentially related because they are both a form of discrimination.
It's okay when you adapt things from a certain time period, a certain place of the world, for them to reflect that. In fact, they should reflect that. You wouldn't want us race swapping a bunch of shit from some African fucking folklore, would you?
Yes, it would be strange.
They've already fucking done it, bro. They've done it.
If white people took the folklore of Africa and inserted themselves into properties based on that folklore, wouldn't it? That would be very weird.
Thank you, Isaiah Bradley.
If that ever happened in cinematic history. One might even call that hypocritical. But I'm sure white people have never actually portrayed ethnic groups that they don't belong to.
What's this? What is this? Do anybody know what movie this is and who she's supposed to be? Because she looked like Angelina Jolie on the right. If this is the same person, the person on the right looks like Angelina Jolie. But if that's who she is on the left, or maybe that is Angelina. Yeah, Elber be clutch. He be clutch. The left looks like AI. No, I'm sure this is a real actress, but the person on the right looks like Angelina Jolie. What about Soul Man? Was she in Soul Man?
That doesn't sound like a thing white people would ever do.
Is it a problem in Korean or Japanese media when they're telling stories like this? Well, there ain't enough white people in these stories. There ain't enough black people in these stories. Why is it always these white characters that seem continually to get erased time and time and time again?
You know, it's funny you should bring up Asian media and whether or not white people try inserting themselves there too. One only needs to head to any topic on the ethnic background of the characters in Naruto to find white people claiming Naruto is white. Uzumaki Naruto, white. It doesn't stop there either. People will claim the character of Goku is also white.
They say they white.
You know, the character based on the figure in Chinese mythology.
You can't tell me she don't look like Angelina Jolie, though.
Sun Wukong. Get it? Sun Goku? Sun Wukong? See the staff? See the monkey tail? See how Japanese people pronounce Sun Wukong's name in Japanese? See how that particular kanji is on Goku's back? Yes, white people do this, Ryan.
And a lot of people have obviously weighed in on this. I've seen a lot of
the receipts just be so great.
Nicknames from Helen of Detroit to the face that launched 1,000 Crips. That one might be my personal favorite.
Yes, racist jokes that don't even fit the person you're joking about. Lupita was born in Mexico, which is why her first name is Spanish.
It never crossed my mind, but yes, I actually knew this, but it was one of those things that you forget like over time. When I saw that Lupita was born in Mexico, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But yes, I forgot.
Yes, racist joke.
I didn't hear
1,000 Crips. That one of Detroit to the face that launched 1,000 Crips. That one might be my personal favorite.
Yes, racist jokes that don't even fit the person you're joking about. Lupita was born in Mexico, which is why her first name is Spanish. Lupita. Her family were immigrants to Mexico by way of Kenya. So you're using a racist joke meant to disparage black Americans for a Mexican Kenyan woman. Isn't it funny how you're okay with Lupita portraying a whole different nationality, but only when it's time to make racist jokes about her?
But even Elon Musk got in on this.
Who gives a shit? Let's move on.
It was when we'd seen the first couple trailers for the Odyssey, and a lot of people were talking about how the armor that we're seeing in the trailer for the Odyssey isn't reflective of the time period in which this was written. It would have been bronze armor, would have been different, would have looked different. And I said at the time, those are absolutely valid complaints. Those are valid concerns. Those are valid criticisms about the armor not being in the proper time period. But what I said at the time is that 99% of people probably aren't going to care too much about that, because 99% of people will just look at this and
be like, yeah, fuck that. You know what's crazy? That's actually not, that's more of a critique that falls in line of critiquing movies than you being upset about somebody's race, especially if there's no intention to try to emulate, I guess, what you think people are supposed to look like, even though it's been shown to us that this person's physical traits aren't explicitly stated in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? The armor not being correct with the times is actually a bigger gripe. It's kind of like if you watch a movie, like I'm watching Stranger Things right now, and if they bust out like a touchscreen phone, that breaks everything in the movie because that doesn't make sense with the times and what they have to work with. So if certain armors weren't, I don't know nothing about this, but if an armor just does not fit with that time and it makes no sense, how is this possible? That breaks your immersion more so than people's skin color, because we all know skin color is fucking what it is. Like, I know y'all remember they cloned Tyrone. That movie was good because you did not know what time period they was in. The cars was old, the technology was new, the dressing was all over the place. You know, like, they just didn't give you a time period. Everything was all over the place, so you just was in their world, and whatever it was is what it was. So armor is a bigger gripe to have than people's racial identity, because we know that people immigrate, migrate, live in, you could just be born somewhere for whatever circumstance, some old genes come down and you got a skin color that you wasn't supposed to have, whatever. But if the goal ain't to have skin color be or ethnicity be homogenous, then it is what it is.
Be like, okay, that's old armor from ancient times. Got it. You know what most people will understand? That Helen of Troy didn't fucking look like this.
Well, Helen of Troy didn't look like anything because Helen of Troy is a fictional character that didn't exist. I could understand the argument if Helen were a historical figure that was actually flesh and blood, but she wasn't.
Right.
She's a figure in Greek mythology whose father was Zeus and was born from an egg. The only question anyone needs to be concerned with here is, does Lupita do a good job in the role?
Yep.
If she's actually playing Helen, that is.
Yep.
Doesn't take a rocket science.
It's still crazy that they're all assuming this and it's not been explicitly stated. I mean, I guess maybe they're just, by eliminating options, that if there's no Helen of Troy and then she doesn't have a role, then maybe that's who she's going to be. Could be just process of elimination, but they ain't explicitly say it.
Scientists to figure out this don't look very fucking Greek epic to me, right? It's just not going to be a thing. And of course, yes, I know this is a story. You know, Helen of Troy's like
We don't know, Tron. They ain't say.
Origination in these fucking stories, in these legends. I'm pretty sure that Zeus raped the Queen of Sparta. The Queen of Sparta laid an egg, and that's what Helen of Troy came out of. Yes, we know these are stories.
Do you? Because you're acting as if the character is a real person that existed when she was a pretend person being played by a person who plays pretend for a living. What's funny about this is Helen is a side character in this story. The Odyssey is the story of Odysseus trying to return home after the Trojan War. That war has been over for 10 years by the time of the events of the Odyssey. Helen appears twice in the Odyssey, almost entirely in the 4th book, when Odysseus' son goes to visit Sparta. This is the scene in the 6-minute IMAX trailer that was shown before Avatar: Fire and Ash, where Menelaus tells the story of the Trojan horse to Odysseus' son, played by Tom Holland. In that trailer, you can see Lupita in the background just kind of being a side character. So, given that there are 24 books in the Odyssey, if she is playing Helen, this is a small part in what will be a pretty big film.
This is actually Chrissy with the original post, Chrissy Mayer. Christopher Nolan already ruined the Odyssey. Casting Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy is absolutely disgusting and goes directly against what was written thousands of years ago.
It's just pure racism because they're so quick to say this shit and they don't even know what the fuck they talking about.
And, of course, you can have all these key descriptions from Homer, Iliad and the Odyssey. White-armed, emphasizing pale, smooth arms. Lovely hair or fair-skinned, indicating beautiful, well-groomed hair. Long robe, long dress, right? No one could blame the Greeks or Trojans for fighting so long over someone who looked so strikingly like an immortal goddess in face/appearance.
So these are things I went over earlier. White-armed is not a description of Helen's skin tone. It's poetic language meant to mean a woman that lives a life of leisure, mainly inside the house. Kalikomos does not mean fair-haired. It means lovely-haired. If the Greeks wanted to refer to someone's hair as blonde, they would use xanthos, as Homer does for Helen's husband. Anyone translating this word to mean blonde is the translator showing their own bias for blonde hair. The idea that a black woman couldn't look like a goddess is a pretty funny idea. The right side of this is using interpretations of the character, which I find deliciously ironic, given these people.
None of these people are Homer, so why are we including their interpretations as evidence? True.
people are upset with Nolan's interpretation of the character. These descriptions are not present in the Iliad or the Odyssey, so these modern retellings are irrelevant when attempting to refer to the source material, which, in any other instance, Ryan would agree. Just ask him how he felt when Harry and Norman Osborn were black in a cartoon.
Norman and Harry Osborn are black in Marvel Spider-Man show, another race swap. I just want y'all to know that show is so good, and you need to watch it if you haven't. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on Disney Plus is extremely good. And yes, Norman Osborn is race swapped. Norman and Harry are black now, but it's so irrelevant, and you're not going to care. You're just not going to care because it's that good. You're just not going to care.
Let's move it along.
If this report turns out to be true, then this, I think, is going to be the biggest controversy of the movie. Not the armor not being quite in the right time period, not some of the other questionable castings, a random Travis Scott appearance. Why the fuck is Travis Scott in this? We don't know. I do think that Lupita Nyong'o is
because I don't know if he might have. Has Travis Scott been in a movie before? I just think that's hilarious that he is in this. Has he ever been in a movie? No, it looks like he was just in his Travis Scott, Look Mom, I Could Fly. And yeah, it's just his docs.
Troy will be the biggest controversy.
Well then, that means the movie will be doing okay, considering Helen of Troy is barely in the Odyssey in the first place. So you're admitting this is a non-traversy. Okay. Anyway, there isn't much left to this video other than Ryan whining about John Leguizamo telling Trump supporters to fuck off, which...
He's out of line, but he's right.
In any case, my position on so-called race swaps is pretty clear. If the character's race isn't integral to that character's characterization, I don't care who portrays the character. When these silly people ask questions like, well, can Ryan Gosling play Black Panther then? They're being intellectually dishonest. T'Challa's ethnicity is foundational to his character, specifically created to be black in a time period where black Americans didn't have many heroes to look up to in comic books. Helen of Troy is one of those characters that was created in a time and place where the idea of an immutable racial identity wasn't a thing. Greeks weren't white people at the time Homer created the Iliad because white people as a concept didn't exist. So yes, you can have an Asian actress playing Helen, or an indigenous actress, or a black actress, and lose literally nothing about the character because the character wasn't specifically made to be white. Or you can cry on the internet about it and go watch Brad Pitt's Troy, where a German woman plays Helen. You know, because Germans and Greeks are the same, something I'm sure Homer definitely believed.
What I will say I don't like is these fucking red nails. I hate red nails on women. That shit is so disgusting, and it's like, why? It don't matter the shape, the length. If you got that dark, that popping red, I just feel like you're evil. I feel like you want to do harm to everybody around you. I feel like you have no soul. Why are you getting pure blood red nails? If you got like dark red, like maroonish, that's cool. That's better. Even if you got like a darker red with like a glitter or something. No, y'all, it's no way y'all like that shit. Fam. Oh, man. Fam, that shit look evil. That shit looks evil. Like that pure red. Like, all right, since y'all, that shit evil to me, bro. Like this shit, that shit evil to me. This is fine. This is fine. Even that's fine because it got the little design going. But this shit, you just look like an auntie that like slap your kids or something. You know, I don't know. I got some people I know be like, I've heard this. I know I ain't the only one, but y'all don't agree. I just do not. I can't. I hate it. I hate it. I'm fine with almost every color under the sun. A red. What'd you say? A red nail phobia. It ain't a phobia. I don't like it. I just do not like it. I'm an auntie. You ain't an auntie to slap your kids though, right? Yeah, I don't know. That's the only color. That's the only color I just refuse to. I just can't stand it. It just looks evil. I didn't stop the video. The video over. The video's over. Just so you know, I ain't bullshitting. Wait, what? Omeezy is covering ABBA?
Sneeko, don't let him cook you like that. Come on now.
When you're hearing all the conservatives say all this stuff.
Wait. He said, Sneeko, don't let him cook you like that. Okay, let's check in on ABBA and Sneeko.
And he told me, like, oh yeah, Haitian guys, when they get hungover, what they do is they roast cats and dogs. The cats specifically, they eat roasted cat and it like heals the hangover. I talked to my grandma, and my grandma.
Sneeko, you're fucking kidding right now. You're telling me the hangover cure in Haiti is barbecue.
I'm less bothered by goth than red nails.
A cat.
That's what I heard from my
I rescue cats. I literally.
Okay, now, I couldn't find the full clip for this, so I'm gonna let you just speak on it, and then I'm gonna do something else.
Okay, they just like going over fucking Sneeko's whole background. This nigga ABBA is really trying to pathologize this man. He's so is it psychoanalyze him? That's the word I was looking for. I'm gonna have to watch that later because I got stuff I want to cover that I can't just sit here and go over their stream. I wish it wasn't happening at the same time. You know, that's the part that's bothering me. But so next video we're gonna do is the ironic fall of Don Lemon. This video, Older Dread made this video, so we're gonna cover bro video. Make sure y'all sub to him. He almost at 500 if he ain't up there already. I didn't cover this Don Lemon drama, but I wanted to. I just didn't get around to it. You know, I just have not gotten around to it. But y'all know Don Lemon has been like they arrested him for what they claim is participating in a protest at a church. But as far as the actual contents of his content, he was just being a journalist in there asking questions and just literally said he's not part of this protest, was asking questions. Yeah, he bailed out, so he's probably going to have to go to trial. But to me, in my opinion, this is all a political play. It's not about the letter of the law. It's not about holding people accountable. The people that protested in there, there's cases on all of them, and it is what it is. Don Lemon, I think that's just pure political points they're trying to score, especially because Don Lemon is on the left. He's black, gay, and a man. Like, so it's just like it's just everything. A black gay man on the left. Oh man, they salivating at that shit. So they're gonna just find a reason to oust him, and made a video called The Ironic Fall of Don Lemon. It's probably some information on here that I have not been fully abreast to, and let's see what's to it.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing.
For our generation, what we did was we took the word and we took the power out of that word.
Have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended?
This morning, former CNN anchor turned independent journalist Don Lemon out of custody, but facing federal civil rights charges after covering an anti-ICE protest inside a church near Minneapolis.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, old man, a.k.a. Older Dread. The man who spent a decade lecturing black people that sagging pants were the cause of their oppression just got arrested by the feds for doing actual civil rights journalism. For 17 years, Don Lemon sat in a CNN studio and scolded the world on black pathology. He argued that if you spoke properly, dressed in a suit, and stopped littering, the system would respect you. He was the corporate mascot for respectability politics. Now, in 2026, he's a federal defendant charged with conspiracy. But this is not a career pivot. This is the collapse of an entire worldview. The house Negro just got evicted, and the fallout exposes a lie that many black celebrities still believe, that if you master the rules of the game, the rules stop applying to you. Today, we're dissecting the career trajectory of Don Lemon to understand how he went from being the safe black friend of corporate America to an enemy of the state.
Yeah, I didn't notice either, the fire. Like, that's why when bro told me, I was like, damn, he was on that type of time back in the day, because the respectability politics shit has been proven false. So I don't know why people, but this was older, but I'm like, damn, it's just funny that look at what's happened to him. Because if he was white, this probably wouldn't happen. Even if he was white on the left, it probably wouldn't happen.
We need to draw the comparisons between his 2013 manifesto, Bill Cosby's Pound Cake, and Candace Owens' Grift. They're all reading from the same playbook, blaming black people for white supremacy. Now, before you click away from the video, I promise you this is all relevant not only to Don Lemon, but is a reoccurring theme shared between the charlatans and grifters that I cover on this channel. Also, we need to critically examine how he and Nicki Minaj are two sides of the same ugly coin. They both traded their cultural identity for proximity to power, only to discover that power views them as disposable. Let's break down the timeline. Don Lemon wasn't always a punchline. He was a serious journalist. Born in Baton Rouge, son of a civil rights attorney, he worked his way up from local news in Alabama to NBC Nightly News. He won an Edward R. Murrow Award for covering the DC Sniper. He had talent.
Hey, for those that was there for the DC Sniper, do y'all remember when we found out he was black? like nobody, we was all like, yo, it's no way. You know, it was no way. The DC, like, you just know that he wasn't black. You just knew. And then it was like, he was black. We was like, we was like, yo, why? How did this happen? What happened, bro? Oh, God. It's okay, Nero. It's okay. You had to be upper end millennial.
Credentials. When CNN hired him in 2006, he was positioned to be a
Tyrone, I bet.
major voice in prime time. But he decided he didn't want to be a voice for the people. He wanted to be the voice correcting them. In July of 2013, following the acquittal of George Zimmerman for killing Trayvon Martin, Don Lemon went on national television and agreed with Bill O'Reilly. He looked straight into the camera and delivered his
Trayvon, wait a minute.
Prime time. But he decided he didn't want to be a voice for the people. He wanted to be the voice correcting them. In July of 2013, following the acquittal of George Zimmerman for killing Trayvon Martin, Don Lemon went on national television and agreed with Bill O'Reilly. He looked straight into the camera and delivered his famous 5-point plan for black people. He listed 5 things that would supposedly fix systemic racism. Stop having kids out of wedlock.
Just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first.
Finish high school.
Finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty?
Stop
Okay. Well, I'll wait.
Using the N-word.
I hosted a special on the N-word, suggesting that black people stop using it, and that entertainers stop deluding yourselves or themselves and others that you're somehow taking the word back.
Pull up your pants.
Okay, wait. I don't want to forget none of the points. The N-word stuff is completely irrelevant to the first 2 things. Now, if he thinks, maybe you could let me know, is he saying this stuff to help the black community, period, or is he talking to young people, period? Because all of this doesn't, I'm sure that's the point that we all understand. None of this matters when you're black because they don't care to fix the real problem. This whole kids out of wedlock, yes, that'll help you maybe financially in life. It's the best option. You don't have kids at an early age out of wedlock. That help you financially. That ain't got shit to do with you being black now. That applies to any and everybody. But yeah, see, if you're talking just the black community, this is some bullshit. I don't care what my pants look like. That they don't care. Your pants could be at your fucking neck. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sagging pants, whether it's Justin Bieber or no-name Derek around the way, walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner.
I think that's one of those things that people just kept repeating and people took as truth. I don't even think that that's true. I don't think that that's true. I feel like I tried to look into that at one point. I think it was like in high school or something. And I looked into it. I'm not saying wear your pants under your ass. I'm just saying I don't think it's true. I don't think it's like it originated in prison. No. He said they took away your belt. They used to say it was because you was letting them know that you wanted it. That was not true. That's the part I'm talking about. That's not true. I don't think that was a sign for who opened for the taking. I don't think that was true when I looked into it. I felt like it was back in high school I tried to really find that out.
prisoner would have during male-on-male prison
Fleece says anything for attention, though.
sex. The one with the really low pants.
Come on, Aqua 8s.
Is a submissive one. You get my point?
He claimed sagging pants originated from prison culture and signaled submission. And while that may or may not be true, he's not sending the message he thinks.
Trends are by their very nature ridiculous. However, few of them are quite as ridiculous as the practice of wearing one's jeans around one's arse with boxer shorts on full display. To those in the know, this is called sagging, a male fashion trend that has dipped in and out of popularity since the 1990s and was first popularized by hip-hop and skate culture. But how does something as stupid as this make its way into the mainstream? Well, there are plenty of rumors. One of the most widely repeated stories proposes that in American prison system, sagging pants were a sign of sexual availability, and this is where the trend first originated. Another rumor is that gang members in the States took to wearing their jeans in this way as it made it easier for them to conceal weapons. However, both of these theories are untrue. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't crazy. The real origins of sagging fad did come from the American prison system, but not as a signal that the wearer was up for a bit of action. In actual fact, prisoners were often given uniforms that were several sizes too big for them, and due to the suicide prevention efforts behind bars, were not allowed belts. This combination of factors led to inmates' trousers riding at half-mast. Much of the time, as prisoners were released, they continued to wear the trousers sagged, and it wasn't long before it creeped into the hip-hop dress code. I'm like, even if it was in jail, it wasn't because it was like, I'm available. I knew it.
All he did was diagnose a gunshot wound by complaining about the victim's belt. This was respectability politics in its purest form, but Don's not the OG of this ideology. He was channeling the spirit of Bill Cosby. In 2004, Bill Cosby stood in front of the NAACP and delivered his infamous pound cake speech. He yelled at black parents for buying their kids sneakers instead of books. He mocked their names. He mocked their dialect. Cosby argued that poverty was a choice. He argued that if black people just quote-unquote acted right, police wouldn't bother them. Don Lemon took that same energy and gave it a CNN makeover. And guess who picked up the torch after Don? Candace Owens. When Candace screams that systemic racism isn't the problem, she's singing the remix to Don Lemon's original song. When she produced a documentary to smear George Floyd as a drug addict, she was using the same logic Don used when he smeared Trayvon Martin's generation for wearing hoodies.
I think if Barack Obama can get criticized for a tan suit, if Volodymyr Zelensky can fight a war in a hoodie, if Trayvon Martin can start a revolution in a hoodie, then Don Lemon can tell the news in a hooded sweater.
They all sell the same product, black pathology. They tell white audiences that the problem isn't the system, the problem is the people suffering under it. Don sold the idea that oppression was a choice. If you just behaved, if you just assimilated, you'd be safe. Corporate America loved him for it. He became the arbiter of good blackness. But the requirements for being one of the good ones are impossible to satisfy forever. Don spent years policing black men, but eventually he started policing everyone. Reports surfaced that he questioned whether Soledad O'Brien was really black. He allegedly sent threatening texts to Kyra Phillips. He was described as a nightmare to work with. Then, he targeted women. In 2013, he implied on air that Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime because she was 51. He pointed out that most people believe a woman is only in her prime in her 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s.
I think I remember that. But wasn't he, okay, to be fair, wasn't he saying that just as far as like, you know, I don't remember. I remember it happening. I don't remember the context around it. If he was saying like her, like, I know like on the right they say like, oh, a woman's in her prime when she's young. Like I thought he was saying it in her prime as far as politics, like prime as far as like if you're older, you have less time to get things done. Like people, of course, she ain't as old as Biden and shit. But when you like trying, like if you're older being president, you got less time to do things or whatever versus he said like a boop.
She says people, you know, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry, when a woman is considered being in her prime. People, you know, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry, when a woman is considered being in her prime, in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s. That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
The misogyny.
Yeah, prime for what? See, he's talking about politicians though. Maybe.
Wasn't a slip up. It was consistent with his worldview. He judges people based on superficial traits, age, dress, decorum, because he believes your value comes from your presentation. Well, CNN fired that ass. Although
See, I feel like that was unfair to him because he said politicians in their prime, and then he said Nikki Haley is not in her prime, and then the women I think got offended immediately. And I think he was just talking about politics. I don't think he meant Well, no, he said, but women aren't in their prime, didn't he? He only said women.
20s, 30s, and maybe 40s.
She says people, politicians or something and not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime, in her 20s and 30s.
Yeah, that's the problem. He said a woman. He didn't say people or politicians. That's why. He said a woman is in her prime in her 20s. Yeah, that was misogyny.
Maybe
is consistent with his worldview. He judges people based on your on superficial traits, age, dress, decorum, because he believes your value comes from your presentation. Well, CNN fired that ass. Although they dragged their feet, the network he defended for 17 years eventually cut him loose. He tried to pivot. He launched his own show on Twitter, and yes, we still call it Twitter around here. He interviewed Elon Musk. Musk fired him before the first episode aired because Don asked real questions. The free speech absolutists proved they only care about free speech that flatters them. So Don went independent. He went to YouTube, and oddly enough, he started doing the job he should have been doing for 20 years. In January 2026, Don Lemon went to St. Paul, Minnesota. Activists were protesting at the city's church because a pastor was allegedly an ICE official following the killing of Renee Good by ICE agent Jonathan Ross. Don was there to document it. Federal agents arrested him. They charged him with conspiracy to violate civil rights and violating the FACE Act. The man who told black kids to respect authority and follow the rules is now a federal defendant. He wasn't arrested for littering. He wore the suit. He spoke the Queen's English. He played the game perfectly, and the system still put his goofy ass in a cage. This failure of respectability politics brings us back to Nicki Minaj, who I talked about in a previous video. Be sure to check that out here.
I agree, Nova. I do, but I think the one thing that changed it for me is because he said women. I think if he didn't say, women are in their prime in their 20s, I think if he just been like, most people think that everyone's in their prime in their 20s and 30s. He said, women ain't in their prime except for their 20s. And I think when he specified women, I think that changes the intent behind what he says, because he could have said politicians. And if he would have just left it at politicians, I think nobody would care as much. It's like, well, if you're going to be in politics, your best year is going to be in your 30s. And we know Nikki's not in her 30s, but he was like, women ain't in their prime. And it's like, okay, so you think men are, you basically saying that men could be in their prime at 50, but not women. So I think that's the only thing that changes the context of that. Because I think at first I was like, and just in this video, I'm like, wait, but everybody would probably say you in your prime in your 20s and 30s. But if he specified, I think that just makes it different.
Also link it in the description. Nicki is currently recycling the same script Don wrote in 2013. She stood on stage at a Turning Point USA event, telling the crowd, boys will be boys. She attacked Megan Thee Stallion. She attacked Don Lemon himself. And now that she just got her Trump Gold card, we know why. It's because she wants to separate herself from the bad immigrants. She wants to be the good celebrity. She thinks if she aligns herself with Trump, with the red pillars, and with the people who want to deport her, she'll be safe. She's suffering from the same delulu Don had. She thinks the establishment rewards obedience with protection. But let's look at the scoreboard. Don Lemon thought his CNN badge was a shield. The feds took it. Nicki Minaj thinks her MAGA hat is a shield.
Yo, you can see the makeup. Yo, what if Nicki would have scratched him? Shit. Yo, this is a crazy picture. Them holding hands is sick, first of all. Kenneth like, ooh, this joke. I'm the only sexual abuser you can hold hands with. Her husband like, why you holding that sexual abuser hand? Not you. Nicki is fucked up, bro. What is her attraction to a sexual abuser? Why? Nicki, you went out of your way to marry a sexual abuser, and you going out of your way to gain favor with another sexual abuser. Your brother is a sexual abuser. Why? You don't have to be this way. I'm sorry. I just want to keep this up. This picture is just insane. These nails is crazy. He tried to compliment them in the first place. And I love that O found this and zoomed in on the makeup. These bruises on his hands have not gone away. These bruises on his hands have not gone away. This is the sign. Like, it wasn't like a one-time thing. This man's hands are permanently bruised. This man's hands are permanently bruised. Because he's Jesus.
Her friends laugh at her behind her back while petitions circulated to revoke her status. They're both class passers. They believe that money and status can scrub away their identity.
Defy shut up.
They believe they can behave their way out of blackness. Don Lemon's career is the definitive proof that class passing is a myth.
It wasn't. It's fake, but supposedly her citizenship process is getting expedited, but the card is a souvenir, which it probably the whole time, even if that's a real thing, it's probably a gimmick the whole time. The card don't actually mean shit. It's just like this is your little your trinket for actually paying for citizenship, I guess. They probably actually are giving it out, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, it's not the actual it's not like a replacement for a citizenship, proof of citizenship. It's just literally something to have. It's meaningless, but
you see, sociology tells us that marginalized people often try to perform safety. We think if we get the degree, if we move to the right neighborhood, if we speak with the right diction, the state will see us as citizens first and black people second. Don Lemon bet his entire life on that wager. He looked down on his own people because they reminded him of the vulnerability he was running from. He thought he was the teacher. He thought he was the guide. But when the feds slapped those cuffs on him, they didn't care about his awards. They didn't care that he voted for Reagan in college. They didn't care about his tailored suit. They saw a black man challenging their authority. Don Lemon spent 20 years warning us about the express train to prison.
And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison.
Ironically, in 2026, that train made a stop for him. He built a penthouse on a foundation of self-loathing. Now that the big bad wolf has blown it down, he has to sit in the rubble and realize the truth. The police don't give a fuck about your belt. He isn't above us. He isn't better than us. He is us. And now he's learning the hard way what Kanye meant when he said, even if you in a Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. That's the video. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Let me know in the comments, do you feel bad for Don or is this just karma? I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you rock with the unfiltered commentary, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, be the person you'd like to meet. Peace.
Oh man, I'm about to pop out. And you know I brought the drop out.
You said I miss human.
Okay. That was a good video, bro.
More money, more money, more money.
Shout out to Elbert for the $5 super chat. I hope Nikki is very comfortable where she's at because I don't really see any coming back from this. I say that too. I think that too. I don't think Nikki can come back. But yeah, make sure y'all sub to he in the chat, man. The Dread. That was his video. Very good video. You see, you got a few of us in here learning shit. You done broke the fire heart. She ain't know shit. I didn't know that was the type of time he was on prior. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely eye-opening. I mean, of course, what they doing to him is wrong. I think you agree too. But it just shows this respectability politics shit don't mean nothing. Yeah, Lay. I was popping in checking on it. I had other stuff. I'm mad that they streaming the same time as me. But you know, it is what it is. Hopefully he keeps it up and I could look at it later. But I don't want to watch it right now because I got a bunch of stuff I need to cover and I got to make these into videos themselves. So if this was just a random stream, I would just sit there and cover it for sure. I think, what did I have? Hold on. I know what I want to do. Okay. Other video was way too long. So if y'all don't know, we're gonna look at some stuff. If y'all don't know, Fresh and Fit has been demonetized for 3 years, pretty much 3 years. And I'm sure most of y'all know this, but it's gotten to the point where I think they're like really going broke, and then something has to change. So Myron has resorted to begging YouTube for monetization back on Twitter. He's been on Twitter tagging the hell out of every YouTube channel he could tag. He even tagged Donald Trump. This is like he's losing it, because them niggas know that it's getting real now. I think they can't do it anymore. She said they still around. Nah, yeah, he's still yelling at people. Wait, I'm about to give a shout out for Super Chat because that I Don't Play Games is starting again. I'm going to tell people about the people to check out your video. Wait, wait, Lay. I know that nigga is not in there talking shit. Well, maybe he talking shit about some other shit. He probably not. Yo.
Saying that some people go to Dubai and then are pooped on does not mean that most of the women who go to Dubai are getting pooped on. Does not mean that most influencers are doing these doo-doo contracts, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. And if I were to say that, someone could ask, what proof do you have that it's most influencers or most of the women go to Dubai? And what I would look like is I would like to have egg on my face because I don't have any proof of that. I'm just going off anecdotal stories.
Okay.
That would be an incorrect
Fair.
statement.
But
when you say...
You made a pretty assertive claim earlier about that. I mean... Yeah, go ahead.
My only claim earlier was that some people do that.
Try and fake. He and Abba and pre-stream.
People who go over there and take doo-doo contracts. That's a fact. The same way if your statement was just some of the people who commit the crime
super chat
against Asian populations
Oh God,
are black, that would
he
also
had
be
to bring
true.
up.
But that's very
you
different
know that's
than
his
saying
shit.
Most or vast
I bet it was.
majority. That is a complete. Now you're saying there's
for those that don't know, Leia's talking about that I don't play games. I debated this guy on my in Watts Discord. It's a video of it on my channel where it was a big screaming match, but he was basically just oh, there you go. I don't play games. I don't know what you're talking about though. But yeah, he was basically like he kept calling me a tether, and even though he doesn't know me, he kept trying to say I was a tether because I told him stop bringing all that FBA tether shit to watch chat. He kept saying it over time, and it was so like it was like unnecessary and divisive. And it was like he was calling people tethers that technically wouldn't even fall into that simply because he disagreed with them. And I'm like, can you stop doing it? I don't play games. So I was just like, bro, stop with this tether FBA shit. And then he got mad and called me a tether, even though I'm not. And I don't assign myself to those terms, but in their worldview, I'm not a tether. So, yeah, it's the tether guy. But yeah, and I guess he in here on the same type of time.
Even if that's true, just because they might do that, does that mean that they do most of the mass shootings? No. And
Yeah,
the only reason I'm bringing it up is not to do like white versus black. The reason why I'm bringing that up is just because they're represented or overrepresented in some segments does not mean that they commit all the different crimes to the same extent.
And I didn't say that either. That's
Damn, this is probably a good conversation. I'm so mad I can't sit here and watch it, bro.
Violent crime on petty crime on Asian people in New York City.
He changed his name. I just saw it. It said I don't play games. I just saw it when he just chatted in here. Okay, I'm finna mess up my own editing. I'm sorry. Okay, so Myron is begging YouTube to remonetize him. So we're not gonna read everything that's happened from top to bottom, but we're gonna get a gist of what's going on. So Enough is Enough tags a bunch of YouTube pages on Twitter. We've been demonetized for nearly 3 years with zero ad revenue, despite Trump winning, as if that means fuck all. Guidelines softening, and them bragging about favoring free speech and reinstating banned creators. Policies loosens in 2025. They unbanned COVID election misinfo channels and loosen moderation under Trump pressure with right-wing voices like us, and I have evidence to prove it in the thread below. They value conservative voices when it suits them, yet we're bleeding money while lefty propaganda flows free. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'll be right back. Not long at all. My bad. All right, so here we go. Fix this now or admit the bias never died. Retweet if you're fed up. Let's make them feel the heat. I'm mad he thinks that him being upset is going to make YouTube feel heat to get a fucking hateful channel like his monetized again. Nobody get Myron. You're not as popular as you think you are. And not only that, bro, you wore a KKK hood on the stream. You just now, 2 weeks ago, was yelling the Hail Hitler song on a bus, proud of it. You praise him. You treat him like he's a Jesus incarnate. You're always being racist on whatever platform you're on. You're lucky they ain't kicked your channel off of YouTube. And now you think that you're entitled to get paid by them. Crazy. Could have put the debate on. I wasn't going to be gone long enough. It would have been petty to put it on to leave. So I just think that this is a weird level of entitlement. This is pure entitlement because nobody is obligated to pay you on YouTube, bro. Like, period. So what happened was Walter made a nine post thread to explain why they should be remonetized again. And I saw some of it. I didn't read every single part, but the evidence means absolutely nothing because the pure support, endorsement, the excitement around racism is enough to keep y'all demonetized. And again, you're lucky that your channel's not gone. You wore a KKK hood, but all right. So here we go. YouTube, reinstate Fresh and Fit monetization and stop targeting conservatives. We've been demonetized since August 2023, reapplied to the YouTube Partner Program multiple times, been denied without clear reasons or direct dialogue, so we have been forced to go public. Yeah, why are they talking like they're talking like they got fired based on racism or something? And it's funny because you got fired based on racism because you were being racist, but you're acting like they're being racist towards y'all or something. Yeah, the money's drying up. Their operation can't work without YouTube. At the same clip, they can't fire at the same clip without YouTube. I'll give them credit for as long as they've done it because it's honestly untenable. In January 2026, YouTube updated advertiser-friendly guidelines. Non-graphic discussions, dramatizations, or controversial sensitive topics, e.g. domestic abuse, sexual harassment, self-harm, suicide, abortion, are now eligible for full ad revenue. This is why I be telling people, y'all could say certain words. Like, I hate watching, like, Parker get a job. Parker, his content, he bleeps out every word possible, and it's so annoying to watch. It's not that deep. YouTube called old rules too restrictive. We restructured to compliant financial content with 0 strikes, yet we were still denied on January 14th, 2026. YouTube is losing $1 to $2 million a year in shared revenue. Pre-demonetization, Fresh and Fit was the #1 super chatted channel in the U.S. Now he finna say that because they ain't monetized the YouTube losing money. Jesus Christ. Pre-demonetization, Fresh and Fit was the #1 super chatted channel in the U.S., generating $1 to $2 million a year in super chats. YouTube's 30% cut is $300 to $600K a year. Does he not realize $300K to YouTube is like pennies? It's pennies. It's pennies. Demonetization ended that for both sides. If Fresh and Fit were not demonetized, this number could have easily doubled or tripled. This fucking main character syndrome is crazy. These niggas said, yo, YouTube, y'all demonetize up, y'all losing $1 million a year. My nigga, what? Are you kidding me? While similar channels monetize, YouTube is losing $1 to $3 million a year, enforcing outdated rules while similar channels monetize, making the same content. And he's not factoring in that if they let any and everybody be monetized, all they're doing is losing ad revenue, which is the primary source of their income. You're still getting You know what's funny about this? He's thinking about what they're losing because of not having them getting super chatted when they get 30% of the super chat versus the money they get for advertisers that can put their stuff on content that's more suitable for a wider audience, because ads aren't going to add people that want their ads on YouTube won't want them on your content, you stupid fuck. And that's the primary source of their income. YouTube messing up the bag. Locate bootstraps and quit crying. Facts. YouTube attached is super chat rankings from Playboy, Social Blade. Yeah, so I'm sure they were getting a lot of super chats. I don't deny that. YouTube violates own policy to deny fresh and fair monetization. Ooh, this is a lot. Some of the quotes from it is, have no community guideline strikes. Our automated systems and human reviewers will review your channel as a whole to make sure you follow our policies and guidelines. Channels will lose monetization when they violate any of the channel monetization policies. This policy applies to your channel as a whole. YouTube ties denial strike. YouTube partner program ties denial strikes to only have no active community guideline strikes on your channel. If you have a community guideline strike on your channel, you can apply after your strike expires. There's no mentioning of warnings blocking YouTube partner program in YouTube policy. YouTube's denial weaponizes non-penalizing warnings from a pre-existing unrelated channel to block a compliant one, directly contradicting their explicit policies on warning, strikes, and circumvention. No circumvention equals no cross effects unauthorized. Wait a minute. That don't sound right, because to my understanding, Myron Gaines and Fresh and Fit. No, if Myron is on Fresh and Fit and Myron has his own channel, he can't monetize one. He can't monetize any of them. Pretty much. That's how it works. Even if it's unrelated and doesn't have strikes or warnings, is because it's the same person over those channels. That's why he can't be monetized on it. And I don't know why he's acting like he doesn't know that. He talking about there's no mention of warning. He's acknowledging one rule while ignoring another. He's saying that they can't there's no mention of warnings or blocking YouTube partner program in the policy. YouTube's denial weaponizes non-penalizing warnings from a pre-existing unrelated channel to block a compliant one. They don't have that's not how this works, sir. It ain't about if this channel has no strikes or warnings and this one does, you can't monetize either one. The issue is Myron is in charge of this channel and Myron is in charge of this channel. Myron can't be monetized anywhere because one of his channels can't be monetized because you constantly are breaking the rules of their policy program. And I could be wrong. I don't know if outside behavior can get you demonetized, but I know like with EDP 445, he didn't break YouTube's policy, but his image on the outside was enough to be like, yeah, no. They kicked him off the platform completely. So demonetizing him would have been a slap on the wrist for what he was accused of. So that's easily, you could say like, well, Myron, you putting on KKK hoods and praising Hitler. We don't want to pay you for your content. That's not unreasonable, and it's not ridiculous to think of. Exhibit A. First warning from Akash commentary, yet monetized elsewhere. It depends on what you said. Are you just going to act like because people covered Akash, then everybody should get a warning or get monetized? This doesn't make any sense. Warning on Myron Gaines' ex for criticizing public figures, Jasleen. It's not for criticizing, I'm sure. Akash Singh, based on clips from the podcast where Jasleen discussed orgies, wife, icks, entitlement. Hundreds of channels covered identical clips, commentary with millions of views, full monetization, no penalties. Myron Gaines singled out with the harassment warning removal, then used to block fresh and fair monetization. Warnings can't be used to demonetize the channel as per YouTube policy. So it looks like the Akash situation got even worse. They took the video down. We think your content didn't follow our harassment policy. And he posted a picture of everybody else that covered it. I wonder if they got Jew or Watts up here. Okay. So his point is other people cover Akash and Fresh and Fit got a warning, or no, they got a harassment strike and they took it down. Don't know what Myron said in that video. Have no idea. I'm sure they appealed it. I would hope you appealed it, and then maybe it didn't go through. I'm assuming what it say. They have a timestamp. You can see example around 1608, although there could be other instances. So I'm curious as to. It's just this. Okay, that's just the original video. They have a timestamp, so there's a chance.
More money.
Shout out to Chris for the $5 super chat. For someone to say he worked for Feds, he don't get contracts or policies. That's a fact. So, the problem is, I want to know what that timestamp was, and Fresh should have used that to help. He should have been like, this time frame isn't harassment, because depending on what was said at that timestamp, you might have been harassing or whatever. Because let's be clear, Myron made it clear he has a chip on his shoulder with Akash. Every other content creator doesn't have a beef with Akash that they're like targeting him, you know, and he could be harassed. I don't know what he said at that timestamp. I don't know what he said. So it depends on what he said at that timestamp. And if it's valid, it's valid. But, you know, knowing Myron, he probably said some shit he shouldn't have said. I don't know. Exhibit C, PBD podcast, external links and hypocritical enforcement. July 2023, Fresh and Fit hate speech strike for linking Nick Fuentes, Cozy TV in the description after we were cleared by YouTube to have him on the show. Contrast, PBD podcast has monetized interviews with Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, and all have direct links to banned off-platform sites. Videos are still live monetized as of YouTube. Now, if this happened, that's some bullshit. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our hate speech policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube. We know this might how it glorifying or inciting violence. Okay, so they gave links to Tate, Alex Jones, and they're monetized. Now, see, Fresh is saying that they did it because of the links to Tate. Fresh is saying they did it because they linked people that are deplatformed from YouTube. The strike says this strike says it's for hate speech, not because they put links to people that are banned on YouTube. Is this nigga stupid? Now, maybe YouTube is on bullshit, but this didn't prove it. It could be like YouTube could be on dirt with Fresh and Fit. This don't prove it, because you're saying it's because you got the links. You're showing a screenshot that says you got it for hate speech. Why is this is? Oh. And not only that, I love how Myron was talking about conservative voices. Meanwhile, they have multiple examples of conservatives that are monetized. So clearly it's not about being a conservative, and it's just about y'all. Y'all are the problem. It's not conservatives. Conservatives, because for the sake of being conservative, are not getting demonetized and kicked off of YouTube. It's y'all. This probably be the last one we read for this whole breakdown. Exhibit D, similar debate channels fully monetized. Channels like Whatever, Michael Sartain, Rolo, Pearl, Crucible, No Fugazi, all them. Despite unequal treatment with identical content being monetized, even when we shifted to financial topics only with zero warnings or strikes, we were still denied YouTube partner program. The January 2026 update allows full revenue on non-graphic controversial discussions, precisely our past flags under old rules. I don't know what that's supposed to show. I guess, they're all talking about controversial topics and they're monetized, I guess. Fresh. Myron's the problem, sir. I don't know what to tell you. And if you want to make some money, you got to get away from that nigga. I don't know if you've scarred for life with YouTube now, because I'm sure Fresh's pages aren't monetized. you know, but this evidence he's showing isn't proving anything. Like, let's see. You know what? Let's see something real quick. I'm going to pull up their monetization. Do they have the link to it? They policy. Are these niggas still debating?
You cannot think it's serious. It's still.
Yep. YouTube partner. Okay. Community guideline strikes based on YouTube. No. I want to know. I don't want to know the overview and eligibility. Let's see. What you need to join. Okay, we know that. Here we go. Monetization policies. Okay, what we check when we review your channel, if you're making money on YouTube, your content should be original and authentic. This means we expect content to be original. If you borrow from content from somebody else, you need to change it significantly, make your own. Not be mass-produced or repetitive. It should be for the enjoyment and education of viewers rather than for the sole purpose of getting views. We'll check your channel and content against our policies since they can't check every video. I mainly focus on the main theme, most viewed videos, newest videos, biggest proportion of watch time, video metadata, channels about section. These are just examples. Okay, the community guidelines. Let's see. You have to be within the guidelines. Let's see. They definitely do misinformation. Violent and dangerous content. This seems like it'd be mostly what they get hit on. It seems like they get hit on violence and dangerous. Hate speech, predatory behavior, graphic violence, malicious attacks, and content that promotes harmful or dangerous behavior isn't allowed on YouTube. Harmful or dangerous content policies. Extremely dangerous challenges, pranks, no, weapons, no, they ain't doing none of that. No. Hate speech policies. Let's look at that. Hate speech is not allowed on YouTube. We don't allow content that promotes violence or hatred against groups or individuals based on any of the following attributes, which indicate groups' age, caste, ethnicity, or race, disability, immigration status, nationality, religion, sex, gender, or sexual orientation, veteran status, victims of a major event, or their kin. That easily in and of itself would disqualify you. So you have to be within the guidelines of YouTube's community guidelines, and then you got to be in the guidelines to get. If you don't get that, then you can't get monetized. You can't be monetized unless you're following their guidelines. So if they're actually lucky they're not kicked off the platform, to be honest. These niggas, Myron in particular, shows plenty of hate towards a certain sex, people with a certain sexual orientation, ethnicity, and race. And he thinks that if he doesn't do it on YouTube, everything's all good. My guy, you shit on Jewish people, black people, women, Muslims all the time. Not Muslim. Well, I guess he considers himself. I don't know what Myron is these days, but whatever. You violate that shit, you can't get monetized. Area, why you keep saying that? I know that. I'm not watching it. I can't. I got other stuff I gotta cover, so I can't watch that shit right now. So yeah, I don't know why Myron thinks that. Myron and Fresh. That thinks that they should be monetized again just because time has passed, and I guess you think you could be racist off of YouTube and stay monetized. Like they want that type of that's like. So I would love to see him argue that, oh, if EDP isn't like chasing after kids on YouTube, why would he get demonetized? Like, nigga, what? Like, what are we talking about, bro? So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of pathetic and sad because, like I said, the simple fact that he's trying to say that, oh, conservative voices are being shut down while liberal voices get to run propaganda. Why is the left doing propaganda, but you're just a right-wing voice? Why? You could have just left it a left-wing voice. It's not about people. Destiny is fucking still demonetized right now. He's on the left. I don't know why. I don't even know why Destiny got demonetized, but he's demonetized right now too. And I think he reapplied and got denied again. So it ain't about being on the left. It ain't about being on the right. It's clearly got to do with something with your content. So miss me with this victim shit, Myron, and stop acting like you're entitled to get paid by YouTube. You are lucky that you have not been kicked off the platform, my nigga. So just be grateful that you can still have an audience at this point watch you on the biggest platform that they could watch you on. And if they decide to keep it moving on another platform, then you better take what you can get, my nigga. Touch real grass, right? Destiny has outside you. Yeah, I don't know the reason Destiny got. I don't know why. It happened around the Charlie Kirk stuff. Maybe he said something they didn't like. But he reapplied and got denied. So you know, it ain't about being on the right. You could be on the left and not be monetized. So it ain't about. He's just the only one I know of. I don't know if there's more or not, but he's just the one I know of. What I had next? Well, we did a lot of reading. Let's check in. Damn, bro. Sorry, I got a lot going on right now.
Maintaining America as a strong world power and getting rid of Israel's involvement using our resources and our tax dollars for their political gain instead of ours.
I promise you this is not a gotcha, but you're definitely not answering the question, okay? And the reason why I'm asking is because it's a very clear stated goal and it has political implications. And so it's just a matter of like understanding how much of his worldview you might share for what he wants for America, the country you live in. So when he says he wants a white power structure and that he wants whites in charge for the majority of it, is that something?
I don't agree with all those points. And I don't think
But you agree with that one. I don't ask all the points. I don't believe you do. I'm going to say this right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think you agree with Nick Fuentes on everything. Okay. So I'm stating that outright. I'm asking you if you agree with that.
Okay, first, I don't want to misrepresent and say that he's saying white power structure. I'm saying I understand wanting America to maintain its white majority when immigration is the cause of so many issues happening right now. And limiting immigration and closing the borders, I agree. I think that illegal immigrants should be deported, and I think that we should prioritize the citizens here.
Okay.
And if that were to happen, then it would. Right now, whites are the majority. It's looking at that if we allow this mass immigration, that's going to change very soon, and America is going to lose its sense of identity.
So,
and as a minority, I hate talking like that, but I think
you are a minority.
Benefit more from maintaining a white majority where immigrants come in to assimilate rather than dominate, to take resources and not show allegiance to this country.
I understand you agree with him with how the immigration should be structured in the white majority, but I think that still doesn't answer my question, because like my question is not that crazy either. It's kind of clear what he wants. Agree or disagree, whichever part you want. But when he says he wants a white majority, okay, and he wants white folks in charge, as a majority in terms of the political apparatus, do you agree or disagree with that?
With maintaining a white majority?
No. Okay. I'm not talking about population. I'm talking about those in power, those who make the decisions. He's very publicly stated that he wants a white majority. That's important for power and politics. So I'm asking, do you share that opinion?
Well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, he was working on Ye's camp. Ye was running for president. We were both working on
look, he's not answering. That had nothing to do with it.
I mean, if he didn't want black people or minorities in charge, he would have been working on that campaign.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, let's try to take a look at some clips. Actually, because I think this happened even in our debate. And I don't even know
I cannot believe Sneeko.
Because I think it's important, because I'm just trying to understand where your views overlap with his.
He could not answer.
Because, yeah, I think it's kind of important to this whole.
Yeah, the majority overlap is that we both agree that Israel is the cause of so many issues in this country.
All right, so let's see. This is during a debate. You were there.
4-year-old debate, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's present. He's already been doing politics for years. He speaks on it, and a lot of his goals are still stated in regards to the white majority stuff. So just take a listen.
He's talking about the fact that he wants like a white core. I find it interesting that there's a specific idea about a white core. Nick, would you not concede the fact that both white and black Americans that were imported here?
Oh wait, let me make sure everyone else can see. So I'm just gonna switch over, and then I will just move that like that.
Through slave trade are the genesis of this country and should have just as much hold. But I'm pretty confident that if black Americans had a majority core, you would not be okay with it, correct?
Well, because America's not historically a majority black nation.
But if it became one, but they have just as much claim to the country as the white folks, do they not?
Well, I think as the people that are in America, yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's say tomorrow they started overpopulating like crazy and then they became a majority. Would you be fine with it?
He's out of here.
Probably not, no.
He's out of here.
So why are you cool with that though, Sneeko? Like, I understand, bro, Nick, it's a lost cause. It is what it is. But it's like, bro, Sneeko, I think it's actually sad, bro.
I think there's another quote.
It is sad.
I'm gonna probably pop it in afterwards. But
he talking about that 4-year-old. Nick ain't changed from that perspective.
The reason why I brought up that example, and the reason why that kind of stood out to me, is like sometimes I'll hear Nick, and then he sounds like, I just want reasonable grounds for us to be keeping the white majority, keeping things good. But, these are Americans. These are our brothers, okay? And the reason why I brought the black Americans is like obviously through the slave trade, they were brought here. They invested a lot of themselves over dozens of generations. And I had the question in my head of like, if they have a claim to the country as well, and that they've put their blood, soil, into the country and invested themselves, then I think through a meritocracy or different amounts of choices, if they end up populating more, is that something that you would be fine with? And he says no.
Right.
And to me, it's very clear that one, he wants, a racial hierarchy in terms of just the numbers, but also that anyone who's not white, there's going to be an upper cap or a limit, even if they have just as much stake in the country in terms of their generational input into it. And so when I hear him talk like this, and then I hear a lot of his other views in regards to things, I think it's very clear how he wants to set up that hierarchy for his people. And I feel like you don't necessarily disagree that you shared.
If it's another MJ, the other one got to go.
Do you also share the idea that black folks, there should be a cap for African Americans in regards to how high they can necessarily climb as a group or population size?
No, I don't believe in population control. I'm not saying that.
I can't have more than one
that
MJ.
Black people should be capped on how many kids they have. But the same goes for Japan is limiting the amount of immigration. They want to maintain majority Japanese people in their country.
It's randomized, so I can't control it. But if somebody wants a specific character,
I think
if you want a specific person, I could change it. But like when people come in, it's randomized. But it's only going to be one
structure where there's a specific ideologies and a specific government. That's how you maintain. If that all if that's going to change rapidly, as so rapidly it has in the past 20 years, where the demographics of
Shout out to Erkman19 for the $2 super chat. Tell Alba to make sure words are defined. You say tell Alba. I can't tell Alba. How I'm going to tell him? He ain't reading the chat.
I don't think that necessarily relates to what I said, and I don't think Japan example.
Gambit. I got you, young.
Japan is not a multicultural project, and Japan also has a tremendous amount of issues in regards to birthing their own people themselves. I mean, they're on an island with just each other, and they don't want to be fucking and having kids. So, they're a population that's dying out, and they may have issues that they're going to deal with long term. The idea that multiculturalism doesn't work because you point to Japan. Sorry, Japan, Korea, they also have a big crisis coming up with Social Security and old people not having enough kids, and no one's stopping them from fucking. Okay. When we look to America, America flourished under multiculturalism. Sure, it had a white majority, but its biggest boom came in from bringing people from foreign countries and then taking the best from all over the world for all different forms of jobs.
I've stated my view on immigration many times. I am pro-legal immigration. I want to bring.
I guess it's a compliment if you think I do.
This country, but I'm not a fan of mass immigration, mass imports from different demographics all over the world. People who are getting H-1B visas. That stuff.
Oh, that was Yanni that said that.
That they use this country to extract resources
I don't have no Pokemon, Monique.
Without showing allegiance to this country. That's not good for America. I just sent you
I got Sonic characters, Marvel. Not every Marvel character there is. a lot of I think the characters I have is Marvel characters from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Dragon Ball Z characters, Sonic characters.
More money.
Shout out to Albert for the $10 super chat. For a tether, Alba knows his stuff about history of this country. Shout out to Albert for the $10 super chat. Tether Alba know his shit, huh? Yeah, he's still defending Nick. Well, that is crazy though, Defier, because you would think that after all this shit, he would not throw him under the bus, but like don't advocate for him.
The one you showed
but
us from 4
because
years
it's
ago,
like
this is from
it's not even that he's defending him on shit that he should be defended on. That's the problem. I'm not with lying on people because you're not cool with them, but you defending shit you don't have to defend.
There you go. Get the courage of your convictions. If you're out there, and by the way, I don't care what color you are. I know maybe that's going to be controversial on my side. But seriously, if you have citizenship, if you were born in this country, this is your birthright. This is our lives. This is our rights. This is our heritage. It's our tax dollars. It's our government. It's our military. This is our country. This is our...
Shout out to Earthman for the $5 super chat. Thank you, bro. Also on the cats and dogs thing, South Korea and Switzerland. What the? Also on the cats and dogs thing, South Korea and Switzerland do it too. Where's their smoke? You talking about the eating cats and dogs? Yeah, that's all a culture thing. We can't act like people that eat cats and dogs in another country is weird while we eat cows and pigs and chicken and turkey, whatever we eat. You know, we can't just, one animal isn't better than the other. We just think people shouldn't be eating and animals can. So if people eat different animals, then it is what it is. But yeah, it's a culture thing, and you can't come to America eating a cat or dog. So
that's what we're about.
There you go.
Like if you can make a dog and it just tastes good, I'm not finna be on my moral high ground like, how dare you? It's like if I eat other animals, I'm not gonna like do that to other people that eat. It's like they just eat a different animal than me. It's just kind of, it's hypocritical, and people don't really, if you sit there and think about it, it's like you really have no position to criticize people for eating a different animal. Yes, here in America, it's just not a norm. So we shun that behavior. But as far as it's not morally, it's no different.
Takes up the majority, then there's no reason that there should be any sort of legal government infiltration to stop.
Yeah, they eat raccoon in the South.
But I'm against
probably
mass
eat squirrel
immigration
too.
from different countries.
I don't know that. I'm bogus for saying
overall,
that.
Like I don't agree with the white power structure, but for a country to succeed, it does need to maintain its original core. And this country started as a
Hell, I fucking hate not deer. What's that animal I don't like? Lamb. I hate lamb. Not just like when I see lamb, it don't even look appealing to me. You know, so like say I see like dog meat or something, it looks unappealing. When I see lamb, that shit is unappealing as fuck. I do not like anything about lamb. Anything. It smells bad. It tastes bad.
I think that because a lot of these movements are going mainstream, they're finding great ways to obfuscate.
You call iguana tree chicken? What?
And I feel that when I see Nick, and I think I see that even with
Rasta.
When I see rhetoric of stuff like deporting American citizens because they committed a crime. And then oftentimes the way they talk about this is very specifically geared towards those of minority communities. It's very clear to me that
I was vegan for like 9 months, then I went to pescatarian. It was okay, but I'm a hard gainer, and the juice wasn't worth the squeeze to be healthy when I wanted to put on weight. And while I'm a hard gainer, so while I'm limiting myself on options of protein and calories, I was like, it's not worth it. As far as like eating food, I was fine, but I was more concerned about putting on weight.
Or it starts to become clear to me what I'm listening to. When I hear things,
but now I don't do none of that shit no more. I eat what the fuck I want.
Immigration, except for like white specific countries. It's very clear to me what the project and the identity is. And I don't know, Sneeko, if
Rasta, you already know hard gainers
looking
ain't got
at
time
them for what they're actually trying to do and then just buying the rhetoric. I think, me personally, the way I've seen things evolve and how it don't even matter if you're a citizen.
I eat turkey bacon.
Got the wrong accent, motherfucker.
But I ain't gonna lie. I miss my pork bacon. Boy, and it's fucked up because I just cared about the fat. I ain't even care about the crispy part. I wanted the fat of the pork bacon.
On that ass. So to me, I think it's almost too much of a good
I used to tell my mama because she didn't want it. I'm like, give me your fat. Like, that's what I wanted. When I was eating bacon as a shorty, I said, can I have your fat? If you're not going to eat it, I'll take it.
Interpretation considering the past rhetoric and some of the actions that we're seeing and how they're being supported. The idea that you're going to stop immigration, but then you're only going to accept it for white South Africans or whatever it is.
I mean, he didn't even say that. I mean,
I'm not talking about him specifically. I'm not just macroing out a little bit, okay? But I'm talking about how things are actually manifesting in terms of political behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so
well, I'm not sure where that was. Who said that? When has that ever been? Who made that point? That
you're supporting that side.
And that's a thing that's happening right now in terms of refugee status and who's allowed to even claim asylum. The only ones that they're accepting for a
Trump has said that.
Yeah, that's the only ones they were accepting. Is the ones
he don't know that?
For the white ones specifically.
He didn't know that.
Okay, yeah, I disagree. It should be immigrants who want to benefit this country should be good immigrants. I disagree with that.
Sneako's a liberal.
Okay, I can see that you disagree. I'm just trying to tell you how they're.
Sneako's, how the fuck he didn't know about that white South African shit? I ain't never had no possum. No, I never had that.
Manifesting in terms of real.
So there's we don't eat possum in the Midwest.
There's the rhetoric and there's what they're actually trying to get to as an endpoint. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I see. What you're essentially saying is that you think that I'm being as a useful tool to push white supremacy, right?
Yes.
I think that.
Just say yes.
Let me just give me a second.
Y'all think he playing dumb? I don't know. Say yes. Just say yes, Abel. Just say yes.
I think partially that statement. I think even larger than that. I think that. And I can say this even for myself. So if I even look at myself, right? You and I have both made content in regards to wokeness, in regards to sometimes black folks will have like this like victim narrative. Some of them, they'll use the fact that they're black to just try to escape accountability when they hit somebody or when they did something. Like these are all stories that you and I have covered, okay? And I don't know if you've had this, but I cover it in earnest. I just don't like people being a scumbag and then trying to use because black plight to me is a real thing. The idea that you would use that to try to get out of something pisses me off. But on the same token, I also talk about the fact that sometimes folks get targeted on the basis of their race, and that's also a real thing. But when I cover certain stories or I do it a certain type of way, sometimes I'll attract an audience that's not there for the same reason I am. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep, learning that right now with my Antonio video. I got people that because at some point I was doing a video calling out racism pro-black. As soon as I criticize somebody else that's pro-black, I'm getting unsubscriptions. And now I'm not saying everybody had to agree with me at all times. I like the fact that some of my audience that still like my content can disagree with me. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I got people cussing me out saying I'm a shill. Or what I saw people was saying I'm an brainwashed. I'm stupid. I don't get it. I can't read. Motherfuckers was calling me crazy, all because I slightly critiqued Antonio in his video. It was like, it's crazy. Like you said, you get when you make certain type of content, you get people that really ain't there for the right reasons. I was telling Watts, like when Watts had all these influx of people that was like, they liked when he talked about women with their bad behavior, and they came from the red pill. And as soon as he started talking about Myron and them, they like, whoa, I was with you, but how you doing this? It's like, so you don't like people that just call out bullshit, period. You just want people to call out women only. That's weird as fuck, bro. Like, you like, yeah, I want to see a content creator only call out women. Damn, like, what you going through, bro? Like, damn. And that's how I am. Like, I don't just call out white people being racist. I call out some bullshit. And I mostly agree with Antonio's content. I agree with Antonio 80% of the time. The 20%, I got to call out because I think it's egregious sometimes. So the man literally has deleted content and had to apologize for him fucking up. Like, I'm not just doing it because I want to gain clout off his name or I'm just trying to be a contrarian. I just think he kind of made some missteps in his video that I want to call out. Because for those that don't know, sometimes, I don't know if anybody else, like other content creators know this, but me, I'll do a video and then I'll look back. I'm like, this ain't content that I need to put out. Like, I'll react to a video and then I'll just be like, fuck that. No, it's not good. it's just not good content, and I just won't do it. So, but I'll put out something that I think is worthy of putting out. So, you know, it is what it is.
Okay.
And so I'm not even intending, or I'm not even pushing some kind of narrative. I'm just trying to say this is wrong. And some of the people who are now cheering me on, I'm realizing I'm tracked them. And I think in your case, I feel like that's been the case a lot of times. I believe you really believe these things. I think you say them. I think you think it in good faith.
Yeah, true crime. And yeah, there are content creators that only call out women, but I think it's weird that you just like, let me watch content creators that just shit on women all day. That's weird as fuck.
And you follow it. But I don't think, that some of the people that are involved or following are doing so with the intention that they actually like you.
That's how I ended up off Stevie. Because at first I liked that he's felt Stevie and MTR, they both at one point felt like they kind of was more fair in their critique. And it got to a point where it became super one-sided, super political. And it was like, all right, you know, even when I watch my politics, I watch some political content for straight news. And then I watch some with a left bias. And then I watch some with a middle center right bias, not MAGA. MAGA is insane because they lie. They just lie. And super far left people lie, like Hassan. I don't watch super far left. I don't watch super far right. I watch balanced people on the left and the right, and that's what I watch to get a good balance of what's going on.
I think they think you're useful. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. I mean, but that's not what I believe in. If there's an overlap in audience, I'm not responsible for all of their beliefs. People can disagree and watch my content for many different reasons.
And yes, I want people to watch me even when you disagree with me. Like, if you've been here this long, you know that I'm not gonna say nothing too out the box that's out of the scope of what's acceptable.
Pointing blame at the content creator while misrepresenting what they actually stand for is disingenuous.
Repeat that last sentence, just so I understand.
Saying your audience is racist, therefore it's your fault that they're racist is not.
It's not your fault they're racist. It's your fault you cultivated them.
Because I'm not responsible for the beliefs of everybody that watches my content.
Right, but you do have control over how you curate things and the kind of people you attract. No?
Yes.
Right. And overall, the most important issue, the most pressing issue that we need to immediately address in this country, I mean, you're Canadian, you're not even American, is how much Israel is purging our country. So his political movement is by and large the one that's threatening that power structure the most. So if we can align with that, if we can ally on that, I see that as the best use of my whatever political influence I have.
So you think it's more important to align yourself with potentially anybody and then fight against this issue? That's what you're saying? I don't want to misrepresent.
That's the most important issue in America right now is getting rid of AIPAC that's not listed as a foreign agent.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
the Israeli
according to
influence
you.
that's all over America. Epstein files have determined just how much it goes.
Albert, that's funny. I ain't watched JoJo's Bizarre World
Although
yet.
I have disagreements, and I disagree with Nick on many things. Like Venezuela, we publicly talk about our disagreements. A lot of his supporters disagree with me about the Haitian cat situation. What's most important is that power structure and challenging that. So, yeah, it's fine. If some people are going to watch my stream and disagree, it is what it is.
Yeah, I would disagree that that's the most important thing, and I would disagree that how you do it doesn't, like, if I align with myself with some people whose political worldview being actualized would harm my people, I just wouldn't do it. Because while I may be defeating a problem there, I may be kicking a huger problem for me and my family or my people down the road. Like, in aligning yourself with some of these folks, you are also partially legitimizing the very people who will attack Haitians for the cats and dogs. You are Nick Fuentes has got enough clips where they said,
Janae, you don't remember the whole they're eating cats and dogs situation during election time? When Kamala and Trump debated, they were lying, saying Haitians were eating cats and dogs in, what was it, Ohio?
Because I was right about that. And it was a lot of it was joking around about the Haitians and the cat thing because most of them are white and I'm not. But he gave me credit for being right about that.
Yeah. Look, I'm not here to say that like Nick has no irredeemable qualities or he doesn't treat you in a way that's not. It's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that if this person, okay, Sneeko, I watched you debate Myron on Muslims praying in the square, right? And Myron in that debate had the standard.
He's in the chat right now.
Was that?
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he always be tuning in, but
oh God,
Myron had the cookie cutter stance of like, you know, the hyper-conservative, like, we don't want any religions other than Catholicism around here. The Muslims are a problem when they're doing this in this public space. We don't want that if it's not. And, you know, I was listening to that, and then you gave the kind of freedom of religion concept in place. But in my head, I thought to myself, okay, you really seem to care about this. You want there to be a space for Muslims to feel like they're part of the country, all this stuff. I'm like, cool. And then at the same time, I see some of the people that you're surrounded with, folks you're promoting by, you know, spending a lot of time collaborating. I'm like, these people, if they had their political will enacted and they are growing in influence, would harm Muslims that are just like you. Like, you're not going to get more freedoms for Muslims. You're not going to get more respect or ethical behavior towards Haitians if these people get their political worldview enacted. Okay. And so I just have a hard time understanding how you can advocate for these people and really feel like you're defending them.
Trying to see
and at the same time help promote people.
I'm trying to see what Myron's saying in Sneeko chat. Sneeko chat moves fast.
I mean, look, so your disagreement is collaborating with people that we disagree with. Right now we're doing a stream together.
This nigga Myron said to Sneeko, bro is terrified. Of what? He is so lame.
My point is not that you disagree with somebody. My point is that oftentimes, even when you're doing streams with these people, you guys are not actively having debates where you guys are trying to disagree on the points that are important. A lot of it is just you guys enjoying each other's company and really helping to promote each other's events and different things like that. So you have to understand, you're not just here with someone you disagree with. You're here with somebody that you disagree with, but you're also normalizing to your audience, and you're also helping to promote to more people. So there is a nefarious aspect to it in which they grow and they get stronger, and by their political strength end up hurting your people. And I don't even think what I'm saying is that crazy, because like even earlier, I think you said that if Malcolm X was alive today, the person you admire, he would look at you some type of way for the people you...
Hold on. Shout out to Albert Choice. W's for Albert in the chat for the $25 super chat. Hey, I have to catch some. Should I catch the rest? I have to catch some. Should I catch the rest of the stream on record? Be easy. Yeah, I'm not gonna put a video of me watching this out, but hopefully Abba leaves it up as a live and you catch it. But thank you so much for that $25 super chat, Albert. Appreciate you for hanging out tonight. W's for Albert in the chat, y'all. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, I reiterated. One, I don't know what you're talking about with Nick saying that Muslims should be persecuted. And two, the one who is providing the most amount of persecution towards Muslims is Netanyahu in Israel, who, I don't know if we both agree, controls America. They're in charge, and they have been ones pushing the propaganda, publicly saying they're giving influencers $7K to push this. Right. Whenever they try to cover up for the genocide in Palestine, they ramp up the hatred.
Oh yeah, but I'll leave the live up so for me covering.
Praying in Times Square gets amplified so much to make people hate and to distract. Okay. It's a distraction technique. So if these people have done the most to make life for Muslims difficult, then if I align with Christians who also agree that this power structure needs to be removed, that is the best use of my voice.
Okay, but aligning yourself with Christians on this issue is not something that I'm advocating against or have an issue with, or I'm even highlighting. I'm highlighting the fact that you're working with people and helping to make them more popular and more normalized, and that their worldview hurts your folks. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you aligning with Christians about the Jewish stuff. That's perfectly fine.
But you could say the same thing about Nick Fuentes. Like they have the same criticism towards him. They say, a lot of them say I'm a brown clown. Stego's a radical Islamist. You're amplifying him. Nick is far more popular than me currently, and we still collaborate all the time. But this is what the content is. You could talk to people that you disagree with. I'm friends with people that I disagree with. I don't stand for everything they stand for, but we can have an overlapping agreement, and we can speak about that. And I've debated about Venezuela. I've debated him about many things I disagree with. But so what you're saying is I shouldn't amplify people who I disagree. I mean, then, okay, but we have a different content.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you were becoming incredibly popular and advocating for Muslim positions, and we were seeing a surge of Islamic or Muslim-related positions and their advocacy groups and their power structure growing, I think that Nick would face an immense amount of pressure from people in his sphere forever associating with you. And I think it would be a political issue.
He does get that. He does. You know how many people tell him that they should, I see this all everywhere from his associates, from his fans. They say that he should cut Sneeko off because he's a brown Muslim. all the time, and that I'm getting amplified, and that it's legitimizing what I believe in.
Oh, I thought you were just getting.
That's a very constant. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I would say this: if he made the decision for the betterment of his people to decide to cut you off, then that would make sense to me because it feels like it's congruent.
Yeah.
I don't see a growing Muslim power structure, so there's no threat. So I think for him to actually remain friends with you doesn't actually threaten anything that he's doing. But on the other hand, it's completely different. If the Groypers or if the people who really align with the extreme parts of MAGA get to expand their powers, absolutely you're going to see things happen to Muslims in this country. And actually, in fact, well, you already saw it. Even with Israel-Palestine, who has legitimized Israel more than this Trump administration? They go out of their way to...
Right. The America First movement, Nick didn't vote for Trump. He's criticized Trump so much, like heavily criticized the war in Iran and the fact that he hasn't deported enough people. He's been criticizing Trump the entire second term.
You damn near don't like Trump.
Yeah, yes, I think you're allegiance with Nick in that word. I was trying to explain to you that if you align yourself with, let's say, the MAGA folks for now, you can see how you... Hold on, just follow me. If you align yourself with the MAGA folks, which you don't, but let's say you did, and you were constantly promoting them, and you're doing collabs with them, they get popular, they get to power. What ends up happening? Well, you're seeing the effects on Muslims, either in foreign countries, you're seeing the benefits to certain groups, right? You are part of that thing that ends up hurting the folks that you claim to care about. In that same token, if his political movement gets...
Why are people in Sneako's chat saying Abba's stupid? Abba is, what they say, Abba, Canadian education, he's retarded. Deport this Somali. He's not even American. Keep pressing him. He has no answer. He's a dumbass. Like, I feel like he's like has a bunch of 13-year-olds in his chat. This is so like this is two men having a conversation, and I even give kudos to Sneako, and they're like in Sneako's chat just insulting Abba the whole time.
Have allegiance to Israel because America does have religious freedom, and the core American values allows for people to practice things freely. So if we follow American doctrine, this makes it a safer place for Muslims.
Meanwhile, even people that are critiquing Sneako and Abba's chat, they're giving critiques. It's probably because there's been a move from industrial labor to skilled economy, i.e. you need degrees to make money. This is such a multifactorial thing. No one wants to invest because it's too volatile. Tariffs is just one of it. No job has been going down since Trudeau era. We have too many monopolies. Too many companies are optimized for profit instead of providing services. Abba be a power bottom. Okay, that's some insults. Sneako can't remember tariffs. Like, the people in Abba's chat have like critiques. Like, they're actually criticizing points. Sneako's chat, literally, I just saw Jew spammed about 50 times. Like, what the fuck? This is what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. These audience you're cultivating is ridiculous.
Their own choices decide, they were having kids.
I'm going to put them next to each other.
We have more kids than
Can I pop this out?
And generation after generation, more Muslims were having kids. Do you think that they would stop that from happening?
No.
Why would you think that when I gave the...
I'm not saying it matters in the grand scheme of things. I'm saying that it's just funny to look at that in real time at the same time. This is the same conversation happening at the same time, and it's interesting to see the way that people are reacting to it. I'm not saying that it's like indicative of who's right or who's wrong between Abba and Preach or anything like that, but it's just interesting to point out that Sneako's chat is immature and Abba's chat is like arguing points.
No, I do not think Groypers or Nick Fuentes would force black people to stop having children. So I think that they would lower amount of immigration coming up, but I don't think, no.
So they would just allow themselves to be erased by the reproducing black folks. That's what you're saying. You think they would just accept it?
I think that they would encourage white people to have more children and try to compete in that realm. And maybe things like pride parades would stop being celebrated.
What the fuck?
More normal relationships where children are being produced would be encouraged. And there would be more of a push to have an actual nuclear family.
More money, more money. I think this is an incredibly good faith interpretation. I think.
Shout out to Earthman19 for the $5 super chat. Abba needs to stop being so charitable, and especially when the other person isn't being logically congruent, believing in good faith has limits. I think Abba, his eyes is crazy.
Very charitable.
I think Abba, now Sneako's eyes are crazy.
I don't.
I think that I don't mind Abba's approach because that's the thing. This is why Stevie looks so crazy because Abba is doing his best to have a real conversation. He's not there to dunk on Sneeko. That's not the point. That's not the goal that's trying to get met because I agree that Sneeko is savable. So the point here isn't like make Sneeko look stupid, but it's to open his eyes to realize the flaws in his way of thinking. And I think that if you just go in like trying to catch him on he's trying to make Sneeko realize his own incongruence versus being like, you realize this is a fallacy, like type shit. It's just not as effective.
I don't think the rhetoric
versus walking him through his way of thinking so he can see it on his own.
From the right and from what I see from gropers really reflects that for me personally. But I think I get where you're coming from, and I think that's probably just something we disagree on. But I don't think, I don't think I have anything else I can. Actually, do you want to say anything on this topic or something that might be misunderstood?
Well, yeah, I wanted. What do you think is the number one important issue? Well, you're Canadian, but what's the number one most important issue to address right now in America?
Well, listen, as a Canadian, like, here's the thing, right? The main thing about America is like America is very interventionist, and that it involves itself in a lot of countries. It creates a lot of these like very important trade goals, and then it tethers itself to a lot of the infrastructure. And right now, it's pulling on that integration to apply pressure and change people's lives. So I can tell you here in Canada, our lives have been incredibly impacted by the new administration in regards to the economy, in regards to job opportunities, and how we've had to like change a lot of things. So as much as I don't want to necessarily have to care about American politics, unfortunately, we're just so tied together as neighbors and as economies that we don't have much choice. So when you ask me, like, are the Jews my main concern? Like, no. Is Israel my main concern? No. Do I think what's happening in Israel and Palestine is
That's not what I asked you.
But because I know you talked about the influence of AIPAC. So I'm just trying to get to the point I'm getting at. That, to me, is not my top concern. For me, my top concern right now in the world is twofold. One, it's the affordability crisis. I think that's just growing by the day.
That's
I think
really
as job opportunities are disappearing, people are getting more and more lost and worried about their future. So that's my number one priority and my number one issue. And then, I think that's number one. Yeah, I'll go number one on that.
So why is there an affordability crisis in America?
It's a myriad of reasons.
It is
it's a bunch.
A bit of a crossroads. I think with AI and a lot of that stuff, I think it's impacting the job market and the prospects. I also think economically speaking, this own administration has done a lot of harm to its own economy. I think personally, this is not a topic I really go in depthly on because I'm just somebody who tends to view more than I do speak on it. But I couldn't tell you the reasons why. Why do you think? I feel like you might know more than me.
Well, so you said that the reason that there's an affordability crisis is AI and the economy?
Well, I think the way that they've hampered their own industries, I think some of the investment choices that
Bergman, I agree, but I think this is different because the people he aligned himself with turned on him. So I think that's more eye-opening than everything else he's been through.
Been made. I think
investments. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, for example, the tariffs are a great example of things that have only hurt the world economy in general and America itself. I think you're seeing a loss of jobs. I think jobs now are completely down than they were almost a year ago, and they're still going down. So obviously the job market is just fucking in the toilet in that regards. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's so multifaceted in regards to the housing market. There's so many different things, but I personally just don't feel like the best authority on it. So that's why I just generally don't.
I'm just asking what you think is the number one important issue. I mean,
that's the number one important issue: affordability.
Affordability. Okay.
Yes.
And so the reasons you listed were AI and investments, right? Like the spending budget, where our money's going.
Sorry, repeat that.
Okay, so you said AI and investments, and by investments, do you mean where our tax dollars are going and where the American budget's going? Correct. Investing into like the military industrial complex. By the way, that's the number one spending. This is the number one.
If you're asking me the causes, I have enough humility to say this. If you're asking me the causes, I can't tell you why. I can speculate, but like it's just it's not something I'm well read enough to even point to sources. Okay, so if I can tell you the one thing I said, I couldn't tell you the reasons why. I can tell you what I think is the number one issue, and that's affordability. That's a real answer for me.
Okay, but I mean,
yeah, because you can acknowledge that it's an issue without knowing exactly how to fix it.
then I don't think it's fair for you to be like overly so critical about who I'm aligning with and what the repercussions are, what the future's going to happen. If you have very strong opinions about my platform and what I'm going to do, while also admitting that you don't know what the main issue is.
That's not what he
What do you
said.
mean I don't know what the main issue
Right,
is?
he didn't say he don't know.
You said that
he doesn't
the
know
main
the
issue is
remedy.
affordability and you don't know why it happens and you haven't looked into it.
Okay.
So if you don't know that, then I don't think it's fair to also have so many criticisms about what I believe in and my political goals or my aspirations for this country.
I don't
How
criticize.
could you have strong opinions
It's
about
easy.
me and my platform, but not strong opinions about the
super,
country?
Super easy. I don't critique you about your points about affordability. I think there's also the rise in fascism and right-wing groups that are incredibly extreme. I think there's a rise in that. There's a rise in this kind of politics where it's going to be stripping people of their rights. And that's something that I might know more about. And I think it is, it's not the number one issue, which is what you asked me about, but it is an issue. And that's something I think you play a part in.
Number one's affordability. Okay, affordability, right. So Gen Z holds, average debt in Gen Z is $94,000. And the average 30-year-old does not own a house or is not married anymore. In the 1960s, the average 30-year-old was married and had a kid. Today, like less than 10% at the age of 30 are married and can own a home. Owning a home is a pipe dream now. Getting married and having children by that age is also a pipe dream. So like, why does that happen? Why are we at this place right now?
I don't know.
We're at this place because military spending is the number one. That's where the budget majority goes. 70% of our budget is towards the military industrial complex. Where is the military fighting wars? Why is this so expensive?
Okay, if you're asking me these questions and I say I don't know, I don't know. Now, if you want to say to me, I don't agree.
Well,
hold on.
I'll
just say, if you say I have an issue with how much they spend on the military budget and I don't think it's justified, I think it's for the wrong reasons, you can probably get me to believe that and I can learn more about it and I'm more than willing to. But I don't know what that has to do with my criticisms of you and what you were saying earlier. What does this have to do with that?
Because you're criticizing my worldview and who I'm aligning with politically, and I'm explaining to you what the most important issue is to me, right? So you have strong opinions about that, while also admitting that you don't have strong opinions.
I just want y'all for visuals.
You think the solution should
I'm
be.
not.
To see.
So I'm not criticizing your worldview.
Of Sneeko's chat and Abba's chat.
Figure out yours. You said the biggest issue is affordability. I'm trying to tell you why that is. Why there's an affordability crisis.
Okay. I'm hearing what you're saying.
And the other thing you listed was AI. The other one you listed was AI. LLMs and ChatGPT have been infiltrated completely by Zionists. Sam Altman is the owner of ChatGPT. He's a gay Jew. Netanyahu has said publicly how they're using LLMs and how they're programming it to fit their agenda. The reason that AI is replacing these jobs so quickly is we have to look at who's behind it and who's controlling it. The reason that there's an affordability crisis, you could even go back to the central bank system that started from the Rothschilds. Epstein in his files recently just said he represents the Rothschilds.
Here we go with this
We no longer
shit.
operate off of a gold standard. The Rothschilds, they are the ones who bought the land and were able to make the trade deal with England to displace Palestinians.
This sounds like
and to
talking
start
points.
Israel. Israel is connected. Israel exists because
This
of
is
the
Sneeko's
Rothschilds.
chat.
Epstein represented the Rothschilds.
Look at Myra. This dude's a
the
fucking
affordability crisis goes right back, and apparently you seem like you agree with me that Israel is the main issue. Israel is the main parasite causing the problem that you said is the main concern.
No, see, I would agree with you if I believed that that was true or if I knew that was true. I don't. So that's why I don't put it up there. Now, if it turns out to be true, then we can have a different discussion, but I don't believe that or I don't know that to be true.
What do you need me to look up to show you that the Rothschilds started the central bank system?
Well, I would have
Wait, the Rothschilds starting the central bank system isn't evidence of why affordability is a problem. That's not in and of itself.
This is not something I read up on, so I'm going to just be very transparent and say, I don't know. But what I am going to get back to is when I criticize you,
So they saying
I don't criticize
admiring.
you because
Why are
you
y'all
critical
saying
of Israel.
admiring?
I don't criticize you because
Why y'all saying admiring and Myron is don't want to talk to him
ABC.
unless he gets to see
My
him in his face
criticism
because he
of
really
you
wants to
is
try to
how
get
you're
him beat up.
engaging with facts and how you determine something to be a fact when you repeat it, your definition of investigative journalism, your idea of caring for people and thinking about the rights of fellow Muslims or fellow Haitians or whatever, and then also aligning yourself with people who would probably harm that. These are criticisms that are very pointed and very specific, and then you're pointing me to the economy and then Israel's influence. Are you trying to say I'm ignorant on Israel, and you think it's more important to align yourself with these people who are against Israel, even if it hurts your own people? Is that where you?
Well, one, I don't concede and think that it hurts my own people. I think that there's more of a benefit than Israel being in control right now. And my second point is that I think you should redirect the energy that you spent. You've brought up so many clips of over the years of things I've said, of debates, of my career. That would be better invested into the power structures and into the main concern. You said the main concern in the West right now is the affordability crisis. If you had invested the time you spent on investigating me into why there's an affordability crisis, that'd be a better use of your platform. I think you should apply that same criticism towards me, towards what's going on in the world.
Well, no, because there's other people who do that, and I trust them to do it, and I'm good with them. I want to focus in on the things that I'm interested in, that I feel like are in my purview, and that I have a genuine want for. It's not my responsibility. If, like, let's say tomorrow, okay, there's a housing crisis, okay? A housing crisis is so bad, half the people are homeless. If I don't have a genuine motivation, or if I'm not deeply interested in learning all the facts and learning everything and speak on it, I don't have a responsibility to talk about it. That's akin to you saying everybody should stop talking about everything because Israel's a bigger deal. Is that what you want for the world?
Yes, that's how they act. That's exactly how they act.
Do you find me more interesting than Israel?
I find talking about the way content creators engage with content and their influence and all these things important. One, two, I feel internally motivated by that. Yeah. I feel more interested in talking about how people engage with facts. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
What do you mean,
why? Do I find
why am I more interesting than Israel?
It's not you specifically. You act like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what's Sneeko up to? I don't think like that.
But you've invested more time into me than Israel. You've admitted.
Yeah, I've invested more time into learning about people in my sphere more than a lot of political issues. What's wrong with that?
Because that's not the main issue, because that's less important.
Well, no, it's less important.
Mine can do the same thing.
You think it's a top issue. I would argue that influence.
So you said the affordability crisis is the main issue, not me.
Yeah, but you're saying the affordability crisis is Israel. That's not what I said. That's what you said.
Well, okay, but you said the issue is the affordability crisis. But you've also said you don't know why that is. So you've invested more time into me than what you think is the main issue, which is the affordability crisis.
Well,
so therefore
there's two parts. There's two parts. Something could be the top problem, and I could deal with another problem that I think is also important. And you're saying there's something wrong with me dealing with number 4 on the list instead of number 1. Why wouldn't I deal with number 4 if it's more interesting to me?
Because then your priorities are out of whack. The priority should always be number 1, right? Your focus should be on number 1, not number 4 or 6.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I think the priority of our government and the people I elect who will actually have the capabilities, their priority should be on that. My job and what I'm going to take an interest in and what I'm going to influence is what I feel, one, capable, one, within my interest field. And that's what I'm putting. Like, it's a very weird thing that you're doing, because you're essentially saying, because I didn't put my focus on the number 1 issue in the world, there's something weird about that. When it's like there's a litany of issues.
I'm not saying it's weird. I'm not saying it's weird. I think that your fixation and your priorities could be, well, obviously your priorities are not number 1. You're not even focusing on what you think is the main issue. And I think that's the best use of your platform.
No, I'm focusing on the issue that I think I could best influence and that I'm most internally motivated by. Like, if somebody does, hold on. If somebody does woodworking, and that's where their talent is, and that's their skill, but the world needs a lot of engineers, I don't tell the woodworker to stop being a woodworker. Do what you're good at. Contribute to society your way. Not everyone has to go into engineering because that's what we need. Find your lane and be you.
Okay, but how could you even know
That's
if
true.
what I'm doing is correct or genuine
I know
or the best it could be?
If y'all ain't noticed, I don't talk about geopolitics like that for real, because that's not where my lane is. That's not something I'm good at. And I get what Abba's saying. Like, you're going to go at what you're good at as an individual. Like he said, the government could tackle everything else, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about Israel, Palestine, and Ukraine and Russia. I'm very surface level with that information, and I'm not afraid to admit that. That's why I don't talk about it. You don't see content on my page where I'm talking about geopolitics in any expansive form. So it's just like, yeah, do what you're good at.
Over the other. That's the truth. Their political worldview is one that in which their group benefits and other folks are hurt. That's the people that you surround yourself with a lot of the times, right? So I'm saying, if you're going to advocate for these people, how do you hold that view and then also work with folks who are going to hurt that? Now, we just disagree on the fact that they're going to hurt your folks. That's where our disconnect is.
You haven't provided any valid evidence that they're going to hurt me, especially stated why it's going to improve the life of Muslims or brown people in America compared to the power structure that exists right now. I see it as an improvement rather than something that's harmful. And I don't know how you can make the comparison. You're saying that it's going to hurt my people. Well, okay, right now we're controlled by Israel. So if that's removed, and I believe that they are causing more harm to Muslims and brown people than a majority white country or Christian country, that I don't know how you can make that
bro,
determination.
He's using his Israel point to distract you from his stupidity.
While not understanding what Israel is
okay,
doing.
let's say I agree with you. Let's say I agree that Israel's the #1 issue. Okay?
Somebody said this nigga is a
but
Zionist.
You also think it's very important to protect their people.
They
okay?
think
So
anybody that doesn't shit on Israel all day is a Zionist.
The first question I would raise is, do you have to align yourself with folks who are therefore
What's good, Reaper?
hurt your folks? Let's say my worldview is real, okay? That I believe that these people are going to hurt the folks that you claim to care about. And I also will grant you that Israel's the #1 problem.
This is not the topic of conversation.
I don't think it's a completely crazy thing for me to say, first off, do you have to align yourself with these people, considering the after effects of them winning and getting more power is going to hurt your folks? That'd be the first question I would raise. And then if you're saying yes, then I think you could probably justify it, but you'd have to acknowledge the fact that it's going to hurt your folks. That would be the only way.
I don't think you can, based off of what you described about the world, I don't think you can even fairly make the assertion that it's going to harm without knowing.
I don't know if he's donating. I think it's just getting pinned. I don't think these are donos. I think they're just pinning it.
In control now.
If I'm saying who's in control now, sorry, what are you trying to get at?
Yeah, how are you saying that this power
is
structure
live,
is going
bro.
to harm? If you're also saying that I don't know who's in control and I'm going to vote for people that know better than me, how could you make the assertion that this is bad while not knowing what's going on right now?
I don't know what's going on right now. I'm not following.
You said you don't know why the
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm actually trying. So
there's yeah, you said you don't know why there's an affordability crisis, and you're not going to invest time into doing that. But you've made the assertion that the people I'm aligning with are going to harm. You cannot confidently say that this is going to be harmful while also admitting you don't know why there's an affordability crisis right now. So you can't prove a negative.
Okay, I'm going to answer a part of this because it's a part I do understand, okay? I know that if the extreme right or the Groypers get in power, that for minorities and for religious minorities like Muslims, it's a bad thing. They're very open about the fact that they don't like these groups, they don't want them to spread, and they want to maintain their majority. So it is bad, right? You're eliminating people's freedoms, which in a country that should prioritize freedoms, you're already that. So it is inherently going to be bad based off of things that they want as a worldview. So I know that's going to be bad. Yes. Go ahead.
Is that better or worse than the power structure that we have currently?
Is that better or worse than the power structure that we have?
Is a white majority Christian country, like that power structure that you're saying is bad?
Yeah,
like
Reaper, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not super versed on Israel-Palestine, but I know that there's a lot of conspiracy that keep being.
I think it's very close.
I
think it's very close. I think you can make a certain argument. I think either way,
America is
whether you're going to be advocating for MAGA or the Groyper types,
I think
you're fucking over your people.
The soft power that they have. Versus,
I don't think that's a hot take.
Not fucking over the people.
Yeah.
Like something grander than that. But it's I don't know. It is more annoying that it takes away from getting to the heart of the issue, which seems to be far more complicated than people that are
Israel
so anti-Israel make it put off.
I think it has a lot of influence power. Yeah, sure.
And a white majority Christian, somebody say it's like it could be anybody like that prioritizes Christianity, does not want to have Israel involved. Does that create a better, say there was a white Christian leader of America, and that doesn't have an allegiance to Israel.
Okay.
Would that be a better country for poor people, Muslims, brown people? Would that create a better environment for those people than what's happening with Israel right now? Or would that be worse?
I feel like this is what I feel like. This is like the question. That's how I'm interpreting. So you can hit back. I feel like I'm living in like Jim Crow segregation America, and you're like, do you feel like it's better to be with here or the Nazis under them? And it's like, well, I feel like both of these apparatuses are horrible for me as a minority, and if I have an ideal choice, I'm going to try to align myself with people who are going to fight for my rights.
You're controlled by Zionism, even though you're not even informed on the info.
I would imagine probably not.
That's how it is. Like people in the chat are saying Abba's a Zionist while after he said, I don't know a lot about that.
But no,
he said, I don't know
that is
much
my
about
point
this,
though.
and he
I think the
called him a Zionist.
Groypers and their worldview is horrible. I think what they advocate for is horrible, and I think what MAGA is doing is horrible. So you got these two groups, and essentially, I'm saying, why don't you go with the third group, which actually benefits your people? Why align yourself with folks who are bad for your folks? That's my point.
Would you rather live under Zionist control, or would you rather live in an America First control?
Oh, for sure. Like, I 100%, I would not support Nick Fuentes over whatever we got right now. No,
it's not my question.
But it is.
It's not my question.
Because you said no. It actually
I feel
is.
you,
Because
Rasta.
you just said
it's hard to stay informed on.
I'm talking about Nick and the Groypers. Yes. I
On
would not.
politics just within America, the geopolitics. I don't have the capacity.
Boss, you already said that we. No.
I
But you
want to, but I just can't do it right now.
You already said that we live under Zionist control. Isn't that not true? That's what you've been telling me this whole time, that Israel controls the country. So we live under the Zionist control that you're describing.
I don't know if you've agreed with. I don't know if you've agreed with that. I'm simplifying the question as best I can. Would you rather live with Zionist control or without Zionist control?
Without. Hold up. Let me rephrase. I want to live without. Hold on. I want to live without foreign influence as much as possible when it comes to how politics operate in my country. That's the answer. So whether it's Zionist, whether it's some other group, I don't want nobody.
What's the majority? But hold on. But now you're kind of obfuscating. What's the majority of foreign influence in America?
If you want to say it's Zionist, I don't mind. I agree with you. I'm going to agree with you.
I'm not asking. I'm asking. What is it? Like, what do you think it is? So where's the majority of foreign influence coming from?
I imagine it's going to be probably, at least for the U.S., probably AIPAC and Israel. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's.
Why are you acting like I'm afraid to say it? I'm not afraid to say it. I think
I'm not acting like you're afraid to say it.
Well, yeah, you said I'm obfuscating.
But I'm trying to point out why you may. I think you're getting distracted by some of the racist rhetoric. You point out Jim Crow, and that's preventing you from seeing the bigger picture. Like overall, this stuff is very minor compared to the bigger issue.
No.
And again, I have disagreements with white Christians, but those disagreements are so minor compared to what's really happening and what's causing all the problems in our country. And that's what I'm focused on getting rid of, what I want to change.
I just think that right now, under the Zionist control that you claim, you have more freedoms than you would have if you were under a completely right-wing authoritarian, or the folks who want to just focus on making sure that whiteness is the major priority. So yeah, I think
you said yourself the main issue is not freedom. You said your main issue was affordability. You said the main problem is affordability. That's the main concern happening in America.
Okay, yeah. What concern? Hold on.
Logic.
No. Concern means that this is the issue that we have right now, but it's only number one because our other needs are met for the most part. If your political friends got their way, we would have new number one priorities. Because I personally don't really going to think about housing as much or affordability if I'm going to be jailed for whatever reason, or if I'm going to be denied certain opportunities in terms of work because they want to make sure white folks are in power. So no, that's going to change the priorities, obviously. Yeah, I'm glad that these people don't have power, because if they had power, it'd be worse off for all of us, including the Muslims and Haitians. Yeah.
Okay, but freedom is at number 4, right? And affordability is number 1?
Sure, yeah, right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're not at that point.
Is the most important?
Wait, what?
Yes, because we're bad. Hold on. No. Hold on. We don't. Okay. Again, these words matter. When you say what's the priority doesn't mean it's more important. I don't think affordability is more important. No. Listen. Just listen. When I say it's the priority, you're not prioritizing something because it's more important. You're prioritizing something sometimes because it's more pressing. More pressing means that it's an issue. So, example, Sneeko, is having a house or ability to pay for things important?
It's extremely important, but it's not a priority at all times for everybody.
Is it more important than having human rights?
No.
Human rights is a broad term.
Oh, God.
So let's say you lived underneath a government where you had no human rights. They could jail you anytime they want. They could kill you, and there's not a
exactly.
human. So
exactly. That's what. Exactly.
So, okay. The question is, what's more important, owning a home or having government infiltration?
Exactly.
No.
Well, that's not what he
I'm
said.
asking a
But
simple question: what's more important in life, having house or affordability, or human rights?
Well, I don't think the two things are mutually exclusive because you wouldn't have
That's
human
not the
rights if you weren't able
hypothetical.
to buy a home. Like I think there's an overlap.
If
there.
you lived in a
These two things
country
aren't
where you
separate.
had no human rights, okay, but affordability was a problem, what would be your priority?
Exactly.
Where there's human rights and owning a home.
If you
what's the priority?
listen to the question. You have no human rights and affordability is really bad. You live in this country. There's no human rights. Okay, the government can do whatever it wants. Fully authoritarian.
He knows
okay?
he can't answer this.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
No human rights. Affordability is bad. What's the priority?
What's the
more important?
priority?
Once again, there's an overlap there because like human rights are being able to own a home. That's part of a human right is owning a home.
Owning a home is a human right. Well, when did that happen?
It's not.
Having the ability to live in a house, yeah. Like
You
that
can live
stuff
in an
is part of human-
apartment.
like having
Okay,
roof
so I'm
over
going to
your
answer
head.
the question for you since you're dodging. Okay.
Exactly.
So the answer is this: human rights are obviously more important.
More
You literally
important,
can't live
exactly.
or have freedoms if you don't have human rights. Is human rights a priority to me today? No, because we don't have
That's
an issue with
it's
human
not a
rights.
threat, but
so
it's
I
more
would put
important.
affordability as the number one priority because that's where we're struggling.
It's a real
it does not
issue.
mean that is more important. It's just more pressing right now. That's the distinction
Exactly.
I'm trying to make. You think that because I prioritize this, I think it's the most important thing in the world. No, I'm saying we have to focus on this because the house is on fire. But after the house is not on fire, I still think human rights are more important. It's just this is the number one priority.
Right now. Because it's not a threat
Okay.
right now.
I mean, I don't think that frame of the question makes sense because, yeah, being able to live. Right, you can't raise a family or live properly.
Oh no, he didn't say that. He just he said owning a home.
Wait, you're not actually trying to say that having a home is is equal to like the right to
Survival.
freedom, do you?
It's not equal to
What do you mean the
survival.
right to freedom?
Like, do you
Because
think
you
that's
just
like a
said
more
that.
important human right, the right to have a
What
home?
do you, I'm asking. I want to hear. What do you mean? What does that mean? The right
Like to
freedom?
live in a country where basically owning a home is a human right. Okay, let's say that exists. Do you think that human right is more
That
important?
is right. That's a human right in America. is
No,
being able
it's
to own a home.
not.
It's
No,
part
that's
of
something that we
Owning a home is
ideally
not a
want for
right.
people, but it's not a human right.
It's not a right.
So what are human rights to you?
It's not
Human
owning
rights
a home.
involve a lot of your most basic necessities in regards to things that you would expect.
Like a home? Like,
Well, hold on,
you
hold
don't
on,
have to-
hold on.
you don't have
That
to
you would
own a place to
expect
live
be
somewhere.
enshrined in the law. There is no law that says you have to have a house. There is no law that says that you.
You have the ability to, but it says you have the ability to.
But
own
that's
a
not
house.
what we're talking about.
I would agree with that.
Right,
but
that's not what we're
something
talking
the
about.
government has to necessarily, but the government has to ensure that you have the right to freedom, that it won't be infringed on. That's a right that the government has an obligation.
You have no obligation to own a home.
So these two things are fundamentally different. There's a priority. So I can think that affordability is more important, that you should have a need to be able to afford food and all these different things. And I think it's important that we take that down, but it's not more important to me than basic human rights.
Okay. I'm still confused about what you think basic human rights are.
Jesus Christ, Nico.
So the right to freedom in this case would be like the right to live your life without the government, in this case, taking that away from you.
Right.
So they can imprison you, they could kill you.
Like
at
you're
will.
not
I mean, right now
You're
they're
not thinking
putting
about
people in
owning a
jail
fucking
and
home if you don't
deporting
even know if
people
you're
who are
gonna
saying
live
things
the
that
next
deem
day.
anti-Semitic. Police in Miami are going to people's houses because they're criticizing Israel. The mayor of Miami, who said, "I'm not welcome in Miami anymore because I enjoyed a song," he sent police officers to people's houses because they infringed upon speech that he didn't like.
Sure.
And they're not going to kill you for it.
And that's why it's at number 4.
infringing
It's a problem. It's definitely a big problem for sure. Number 4.
And number 1 is affordability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're still
Doesn't
alive
mean
and
that-
about to get home.
I think it'd be beneficial to look into the affordability crisis and why we have this issue now. Why there's a debt
This sounds like
crisis,
some rich shit, because nigga, people
student
is struggling
loans,
to afford to
mortgages.
live out here, bro. And you steady talking about some Israel's
the
running the country,
2008
bro. I don't give a
housing
fuck.
crisis,
That shit is not
the central
phasing me
bank
at all.
system, this stuff,
This
where the
Israel
money's
shit
going
has
and
no
why
effect
this-
on my life
this
as an
happens.
average
That's
American.
your number 1 issue. That people interest,
No child left behind, I swear.
would look at the World Economic Forum saying you're not going to be able to own anything. They want us to rent forever. The wealth gap is getting bigger. Like, you could agree, right, that 1% holds so much of the wealth compared to the 99%. Even the 0.1% We should look at who that 1%, that point.
Sure, but
1% is and why it is.
I feel like this is a lazy way of dealing with an issue that's multifaceted. I don't believe that the reason why everything is unaffordable is Jews in Israel. But it sounds like you're saying it's just Zionists.
What is it?
Right, tariffs is
No,
hurting more than
did you say
Israel.
what is it?
I
No,
keep
no,
hearing
you say what is it? But it's like, okay, what? So you don't think that there's other forms of greed involved? You don't think there's a tremendous amount of incompetence? You don't think there's shortages in resources? Like the idea that we have a big problem when it comes to affordability, when it comes to whether or not we have access to food on a cheap scale, and you're just going Jews, it sounds lazy. That's honestly what it sounds. And you're trying to sit here.
That's not what I said.
That's what you focused on. You said it's the most important thing.
Bank system. I explained how they have connections to Israel. I explained how they got the land, how England sold it to them, and you said you didn't know this and you didn't look it up. I didn't say Jews. I explained specific reasons, and then you said you didn't know.
No, you said
I never said Jews.
You said Zionism. Isn't that what you said?
I said the Rothschild bank system is directly correlated to why that there's an economic problem right now, why things are unaffordable.
You said correlated?
You listed your reasons why you think there's an affordability crisis. I described it. I said who's in control. You said AI is taking all these jobs. I've described to you who's behind LLMs, who owns ChatGPT, Netanyahu, and saying what he's using AI to benefit. I didn't just say Jews. I'm giving you specific people in charge and things that are happening right now. And you said you didn't know.
Which are connected to the Jews, correct? You're explaining me how, but you're saying essentially it's the Jews, but you're explaining how.
But you just simplified it and you said it sounds simple, and you said just saying Jew, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm giving you specific reasons why this is.
Everything you just said still comes back to exactly what I said, which is that if you look through the thread long enough, you go to Rothschild and their connection to Israel, you talk to this person, and then they talk to Netanyahu, and they go back to Israel. At the end of the day, it all leads back to what? The Jews. At the end of the thread.
What's your point?
Right.
So
what's your point?
What's your point?
You're explaining how, but you're saying it's the Jews.
It's not all Jews. I never said that. I'm saying that Israel has control over this, and this is where tax dollars are going. And there's a specific group of Jews in Israel who are using America as resources, but there's so many Jews who have nothing to do with this.
Okay, so it's not all the Jews. All of it leads back to some of the Jews.
I mean, that's a simple way of describing it, but I would never characterize my perspective like that.
Right, but eventually, if you follow the thread through all the different ones, it leads back to some of the Jews. That's what you said. You've explained how very technically, but you're essentially saying it leads back to the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Well, I'm following your line of. I'm not even saying that from mine. You said your most important issue is affordability.
Right, Shanae. He can't divert.
I just asked a simple question.
He can't. Like these people are incapable of having a real conversation because of the script.
The affordability crisis right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I would just imagine that someone who's not connected to Jews or industries that are not necessarily connected deeply to the Jews are also probably influencing a lot of the affordability issue. Yes. That would be something I would imagine to be true.
They also are, but I'm calling that you said that these are the two things affecting the affordability crisis. So what else is it? Like what else is affecting affordability?
Well, you're telling me to look into Israel and all these different things because you're saying this is the thing that's contributing or actually influencing or majoritarily causing the problem. And I'm like, okay, I hear you say that, but to me, it just doesn't sound very convincing because it feels very unifunctional. Even though you explain the branch, eventually just leads back to some of the Jews. Now, look, what? Hold on. Let me concede. I'll just concede. I'll concede. Let me concede. I'll concede. I don't know. And because I don't know, that's something I'm going to have to spend some time looking into. Okay? So I'm going to admit I'm ignorant and I can own that. All right? I heard what you said. I heard your theory. I'm going to sit here and be like, I don't know. I'll concede. Because I don't know all these things, and so I'm not going to sit here and argue about the facts about the Rothschild. I don't know. But let's see here. Probably reaching the end.
We're talking about heat. It's really cold in here.
That's the opposite for me.
I was just going to say it's the opposite for me. I ain't never heard that. Let me turn on the heat. It's cold.
Just last part.
Nigga, you.
Because in my research for this, I looked into quite a lot of your IMDb related stuff. I think you actually done quite a lot of short films.
Okay.
I saw that you have worked on some productions. Your IMDb got about 8 to 9 credits. I saw that you got quite a lot of.
Okay, so yeah, man, that was that. They probably, who knows how much he said we're gonna wrap it up. So I'm sure they're not going to go too much longer, but you know, it is what it is wherever they at. I'll dump y'all into I'll throw y'all into Abba's stream right now. And when y'all get there, just make sure y'all say that y'all know Logic's raid. Just say that. That's all I ask. Once I put y'all in there.
More money, more money, more money.
Shout out to Chris for the $2 super chat. What food can I eat to replace my brain cells I lost? I don't know, but just make sure it's a lunch from school. I don't know what exactly, but that's probably what's priority. Or school lunch. I be having you stressed. What I do? Why you say fuck me for? What I do? You know, I was just shit. You know, I ain't doing that. Wait, why I can't? Oh, is it because they channel too big? Is they channel too big for me to put y'all in? That's crazy. I'm sitting here searching. I'm trying to redirect y'all with a, you know, but I guess they too big. I guess. I can't send y'all to Abba and that's weird. Yeah. Oh, they don't have it turned on. That's why. They need it turned on. So I can't send y'all there. I'm not sending y'all to Fatty. That's dead. Oh well, fuck it. Go to whatever stream y'all want. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. If you made it to this point of the stream, man, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.